Meeting of the century between the two greatest rivals in Canadian football, the Stampeders and the Eskimos, in the last showdown of the millennium. It will be tough to top what happened 4 days ago at McMahon in Calgary.
Tonight in the rematch, all eyes will be on Alan Pitts, who's poised to become Canadian football's all-time leading receiver.
Conditions from the Weather Network ideal, 12 degrees with a wind gusting to 20 so it could be a factor before we're done at Commonwealth tonight. Stampeder head coach Wally Buono not a happy guy after last Monday. The game in Calgary should not have come down to one final play. His staff should have had it wrapped up much earlier than that.
The 60-year-old Don Matthews spent the last 4 days on the telephone rounding up enough bodies just to field a team here tonight. He lost a ton of starters to injury on Monday.
The Eskimos have used 35 rookies in their lineup so far, or at least new players, in 1999. And they lost 4 starters last week in the Labor Day showdown in Calgary.
Look at the walking wounded for the Edmonton Eskimos. 3 sets of crutches. The guy up front with the hat on and brown sweater is Terry Vaughn. He will be the big loss for Edmonton tonight, the go-to guy for Don Matthews in this offense led by Nealon Green. It was a physical game on Labor Day, and the Edmonton Eskimos paid the price.
They came out on the short end of the injury report, but they came out on the winning end on the scoreboard by 3. The story tonight will be Alan Pitts. He is only 38 yards away from reaching an incredible milestone in Canadian football.
Mark McLaughlin to kick off.
Mark McLaughlin set to get the evening underway at Commonwealth. They met 96 hours ago, or at least said goodbye 96 hours ago. Goodbye, good riddance to McMahon Stadium.
Well,
and here they are on Friday night, head-to-head again.
There's going to be a big crowd here, so emotionally you know they're going to get up, but that's tough to play 4 days later. They play a physical game. They played on Labor Day.
Donnie Ashley on the left, Reggie Swinton are back to receive Mark McLaughlin's kickoff. So, are you ready for a rumble?
I'm ready.
Last match of the millennium, barring a playoff meeting between these two teams sometime in November. And that's still a possibility after Edmonton's win last week. For Reggie Swinton, an ex-Bomber returning for the Eskimos. This little hole opens up for R.T. Swinton. And he has room to the far side. McLaughlin gets over, can't make the catch or the tackle, and a big start as Coleman gets over to force Swinton out of bounds.
Well, that's a good way to impress your new boss.
Absolutely. Tonight's starting lineup brought to you by Midas Car Care, the way it should be. Edmonton quarterback Nealon Green runs to win, and he leads all CFL quarterbacks with 578 yards rushing. Swinton has set the Eskimos up with a 54-yard kickoff return. And Edmonton begins on first down just outside the Stampeder 36. Nealon Green on first down, fakes once and looks deep. Looking for Hervey, and Hervey ran into the Calgary defender, which is William Hampton. Green will have to get along without his best receiver. Reggie Swinton starts for the injured Terry Vaughn tonight. Troy Mills will run the ball from the Edmonton backfield. He had a good week last week. The O-line won a big battle up front on Monday at McMahon Stadium against the Calgary Stampeders. These guys were pretty good last week.
Really were. Both the offensive and defensive lines for the Edmonton Eskimos had a great game on Labor Day, and one of the key reasons for their victory in that 33-30 win.
2nd and 10, Eskimos at the Stampeder 36. Just nicely underway at Commonwealth. Green will get a little heat, and he got it away. He was decked as Donnie Ashley makes the catch, and we'll have a first down for the Eskimos.
The heat you mentioned came from Steve Anderson, who started to emerge as the leader up front for the Calgary Stampeders on defense. Of course, Alonzo Johnson in the middle, and in the secondary, the two ball hawks have been Jack Kellogg and William Hampton. Combined, they have 10 interceptions on the year.
A 15-yard gain, and the Eskimos are off to a great start on a kickoff return. And a first down now at the Stampeder 21. From the shotgun. He faked it to Mills and takes off himself. And Nealon Green is decked at about the 15.
It's what Alondra Johnson's got to do. It was a great fake to Troy Mills. Troy Mills had a very good game on Labor Day against the Calgary defense. So this is Troy Mills here. He's going to run the fake. He's going to suck in the defensive line. Alondra Johnson is the guy who's eventually going to float to the play and recover. Alondra Johnson got caught way in the mix and had pretty good speed to get outside. And what he has to do every time Nealon Green decides to run, pound him.
Mills picked up 127 yards and a touchdown last week. He has 5 on the previous play. Make it 6. This is 2nd and 4. Green looks to the end zone. A flag goes down, and Batson had one hand on the ball but couldn't bring it home.
William Hampton and Ed Hervey were in a heap at about the 5-yard line. I don't believe there was any interference on Andre Batson. But Hampton and Ed Hervey were in a fight down on the 5-yard line. They ended up in a pile, and I believe that's right where the flag was.
Illegal contact on receiver. Calgary 21. First down.
Illegal contact can happen anywhere on the football field away from the play. So William Hampton gets the call and keeps his drive alive for the Edmonton Eskimos.
Tough start for Wally Buono's Calgary Stampeders. Don Matthews has to be pretty excited about the way his team has moved the football with all the adjustments he's had to make.
Well, he got the great field position early with the Reggie Swinton return, and Nealon Green is keeping this drive going, see if they can capitalize with the major.
Eskimos are 1st and goal to go from the 7. Green looks to the far side and missed his target. Rick Walters was the intended Eskimo receiver, and it wasn't close.
Wow, Rick Walters wide open. Little rub play to the outside. Rick Walters getting outside his coverage man. And he is wide open. All he has to do, Nealon Green has to do that is get him the football. He can't find it. Look how open Rick Walters is. He walks in.
So 2nd and 7. Eskimos at the Calgary Stampeders 7-yard line. Green operating from the shotgun much of this drive. Faked it again. Now looks for the touchdown toss, and he missed again. Ashley was the target, number 87, and the coverage was from Eric Sutton, number 27.
Eric Sutton coming over from Saskatchewan Roughriders after being released. He'll play a lot of the nickel for the Calgary Stampeders, the extra defensive back. He was all over Donnie Ashley. No shot for him to catch that football.
So Green with a great opportunity to get 6. He maybe should have kept the ball on the ground.
And keep it on the ground with Troy Mills after the big game he had on Labor Day. And of course, Troy Mills the key to the Edmonton Eskimo offense.
Spotted at about the 15-yard line for John Baker. It's up, it's good. The Eskimos have a 3-0 lead. So they answered early. The Eskimos are on the board on the Labor Day rematch in Edmonton.
Swipe your club.
Alan Pitts has had an outstanding decade of catching footballs in the CFL. He has simply been the best, and he'll prove it tonight.
This is the one he's going after. Ray Algard's career total 38 yards away from passing Ray Algard, becoming the all-time leading receiver in Canadian Football League history.
And there's a pretty good guarantee, folks, he's going to do it here tonight. On the turf at Commonwealth Stadium, it's 1st down for the Stampeders after giving up 3 points to the Eskimos, beginning at the 35. Dickinson at the controls for Calgary. They keep it on the ground, and they really have to get this guy involved early. Kelvin Anderson, and there wasn't much there. Anderson averages 4.9 yards a carry. Dickinson will help Alan Pitts set that record tonight and hope to get Kelvin Anderson running with some kind of authority in this one. Up front, the pressure is on these 5 guys who were soundly beaten last week and allowed 7 sacks. Fred Childress is coming to town soon and would likely be in the lineup shortly after he arrives. 2nd and 6. The game is 4 for Anderson. Markers are down as Dickinson drops and throws to the far side. Danielson made the catch at the 45, and he was pinned by Marcelo Simmons.
Doug Peterson jumped offside. It just depends on whether or not he was drawn off.
Dickinson completes to Danielson. There is a flag down on the play.
Doug Peterson, an All-Canadian in '98, was the most sought-after free agent around Canadian football in the offseason. He was solid last week, maybe his best game as an
Offside.
Eskimo.
Edmonton 94. 2nd down repeated.
Well, Doug Peterson leads that defensive line. Leroy Blue is in the lineup starting. Tyrone Hines is out with the injury, probably gone for the year. In the secondary, some changes as well. Ken Watson is out of the lineup, so Anthony Fogle moves to halfback. He's the rookie, and the newcomer, Eric Edwards, will start and get his first start on the corner. We'll watch that matchup between Travis Moore and Eric Edwards, and of course inside Anthony Fogle and Alan Pitts.
Yeah, that's going to be one to see. Peterson in his 6th CFL season from a great school out on the West Coast, Simon Fraser.
Another Simon Fraser grad.
This is Mike McCoy in at quarterback on 2nd and 1, and that's the play that didn't work on the final play Monday at McMahon Stadium. They needed a yard. They didn't get it from McCoy there, but they have it here.
Love the call by Wally Bono. Really the only thing he could do, and that's what championship teams do, is they go for it. I mean, he went for the win and the quarterback sneak. It didn't work out for him, but it was definitely the right decision from the 1-yard line. Dave Dickinson in that game took a pounding.
Oh, did he? I mentioned he was sacked 7 times, but he was hammered about 10 more. Hammered into the turf at McMahon. First down, Calgary. Kelvin Anderson grabbed by the first man, but he found a way to break free and get to the 50-yard line. Marcelo Simmons finally got the stop on Kelvin Anderson.
Well, if you're wondering how you can alleviate some pressure on Dave Dickinson, you do it by giving the ball to Kelvin Anderson, making the defensive line in Edmonton respect him as a running back. In the 6 wins, Anderson averages over 90 yards. In their losses, it drops to under 40 yards. He is the key.
2nd and 6, Stampeders trying to get to midfield for a first down. Dickinson will put it up. He escaped the pressure, and what a hit. The catch was made by Danielson, and he was hammered by Torrey Hunter.
Danielson hit hard by number 4, Torrey Hunter.
Well, there was a question mark, I believe, as to whether or not Dave Dickinson was crossed the line of scrimmage when he threw the football.
We'll check out the infraction.
Holding. Calgary 59. 2nd down repeated.
That's Rocco Romano, so that will wipe out a Stampeder first down. A great catch for the highlight reel by Vince Danielson.
Well, you got to see the hit one more time. Here's Dickinson. Watch the hit coming from Torrey Hunter. Lines him up.
Danielson.
Danielson. Watch Danielson take that hit. Boy, that's being the hammer.
And did you see Danielson hop up and say as much to Torrey Hunter? Didn't feel a thing.
Exactly.
2nd and 16. Shotgun for Dickinson. He unloads, and he's got a first down out across the 50-yard line. Aubrey Cummings, 87, makes a big catch to keep this drive rolling for the Calgary Stampeders. 22 yards.
Mistake in the linebacking core from the Edmonton Eskimos. They dropped the wrong way. Charles Asman, instead of dropping one way, watch how he comes out of there and drops to the wrong direction. It's going to open up the field on the opposite side. See how there's 2 Edmonton defenders in the same area? That's a mistake in the linebacking core. That opened up the field to the opposite side, and Dave Dickinson saw the opening.
Charles Asman has had a couple of great games at middle linebacker for Edmonton. First down, Calgary. And that'll be another first down. Danielson again. Prime target on this drive. Charles Anthony, number 10, to make the tackle for Edmonton.
Danielson will likely see the football a lot more here tonight, simply because you know the Edmonton defense will pay special attention to Alan Pitts. Not because of the record that he's about to break, but because he is obviously the go-to guy for Calgary. They did it on Labor Day. They doubled him with Terry Ray and the halfback Ken Watson. They'll do it again tonight.
Another Calgary first down, this time at the Eskimo 36. Dickinson in onto the center. Releases in a hurry and just missed his target. Travis Moore. Anthony again covering there.
We talked about Dave Dickinson taking 7 sacks in the football game, but he got hit every time he threw the ball. I mean, we're talking about those are the ones that hurt too. When you get sacked, a lot of times I think you can see it coming. You're going
kind
down,
of fighting it off a little bit.
Yeah,
right?
You're preparing yourself. It's kind of like in a collision. If you're in a car crash and you see it coming, you can prepare yourself, brace yourself. Doesn't hurt as much. If you get that rear ender, and Dave Dickinson got a lot of those, you don't know it's coming. That's when you get hurt. He has got to be banged up here tonight.
Hammered from the blind side more than once. 2nd and 10, Stampeders. He moves to the shotgun. And Dickinson has Anderson sliding out of the backfield. And Anderson can't quite turn the corner effectively. Again, it's Anthony who's been involved in about 4 plays so far.
Charles Anthony's going to be matched up likely all night on Alan Pitts. It's just a better size matchup with Charles Anthony at about 6'2", Alan Pitts at 6'4". The other matchup would find Anthony Fogle, who's not only a rookie, but he's at 6 foot. So they're going to try and get Anthony locked up on Alan Pitts, I'm sure, tonight. It's just a better matchup physically, plus Charles Anthony is a veteran and played against Alan Pitts.
Anthony on the sidelines with the rest of the Eskimos not on this special team. McLaughlin is ready to kick for the first time tonight. Playing in his 200th CFL game, Mark McLaughlin is 5 points away from passing Dave Cutler on the all-time scoring list. So presumably with this little chip shot from 38, he'll be within a couple. It's down for McLaughlin, so is a flag, but it's through. So if the penalty isn't against Calgary, the Stampeders will have an opportunity to be even here.
This could be a big penalty. Well, it's going to be against Calgary, so they're going to make him kick it again. It's a little bit longer kick for Mark McLaughlin.
He had plenty on that one into the breeze. So the score remains 3-0 Eskimos.
No end. Calgary. Third down repeated.
See, what they do sometimes in the field goal team is they bow the ends. And what I mean by that is the ends will line up off the line of scrimmage a little bit too far to try and make the corner longer for the outside rush man. They just bowed it a little too much because you got to keep your shoulders squared to the line of scrimmage if you're the end.
Now the spot will be on the 43. Dickinson holding.
43-yard field goal.
Think back to that Labor Day game. Calgary had so many opportunities early. Wally Buono-sized team with a couple of turnovers.
7-11.
The rest going to go to 7-Eleven for a coffee. We'll be right back with that. But Wally Buono had a chance to score majors in the first quarter of that game, and I'm thinking about 3 examples. They came away with 2 field goals out of 3 and missed one that was run out of the end zone, so they didn't even get the signal. And that came back to haunt him later on in that football game.
When you lose by 3.
Yeah.
Field goal would have won it had they made that field goal at that time. McLaughlin from the 43, and he's wide this time. So a costly error for the Stampeders, and here's Ashley. A wide field goal. Returning from the end zone, Donnie Ashley. Out to the 50-yard line. Raymond Biggs leading the Stampeder tacklers. Not a good start for those Calgary guys on Adidas Friday Night Football. The opening kickoff, Reggie Swinton for 54, and here Donnie Ashley.
Well, he knows, Don Matthews knows that Calgary has to cover with some offensive linemen. Jamie Crysdale and Rocco Romano at the point of attack. They don't know how to cover kicks. See, they were right there. They were worried about blocking, and they don't know how to go down there and cover kicks and field goals, so Donnie Ashley makes them pay.
Fairly obvious from the coverage there. Swinton had a 54-yarder, Ashley a 53-yarder. And here's Troy Mills, first carry of the ball game. It's a big one for the Eskimos. Inside the 45, stopped by the safety, Greg Prairie. Keys to success for the Eskimos.
Well, I think they got to contain Nealon Green, number 1. When Nealon Green forces the corners and he keeps the defensive ends wide, they got to do that. They got to stop Alan Pitts for sure. Alan Pitts going to be the go-to guy. They got to keep the heat on Dave Dickinson. We talked about how he got pounded, and they got to be quick studies. Bunch of new starters in the lineup.
Troy Mills picked up 18 yards, setting the Eskimos up at the 42. Nealon Green looks to put it up. It's batted right to the ground.
Pass intended for Walters, knocked down by number 94.
Nealon Green has been struggling to try and connect with his receivers so far in the opening quarter, but he has 3 points on the board.
Nealon Green all year has struggled as a drop-back passer, but when he runs the football to the outside and throws on the run, he has success.
Eskimos 2nd and 10. Green puts it up. He's got his target this time. Walter's second catch of the game is inside the 30. Alondra Johnson makes the tackle, but a big play the Eskimos.
Now we go to the Calgary keys to the success in this game. Contain Nealon Green. He runs. We just talked about it. They're effective. Establish the run. We talked about the importance of Calvin Anderson. 22 yards on Monday, not good enough.
And take the crowd out for dinner. Well,
that'd be an expensive dinner tonight.
Even hot dogs would cost about 120 grand. Big crowd on hand at Commonwealth tonight. Green, good fake, and avoided one tackle, but couldn't get away completely.
Daryl Hall got lucky. A great athletic play by Daryl Hall because he was free on the edge, and when you're in space with Nealon Green, it is tough to bring him down. The other thing was Daryl Hall jumped. He took a gamble on the pump fake and jump, and on his way down, he was able to grab Nealon Green by the ankle and hang on. Here comes, there he is right on the corner. Watch Daryl Hall jump. He jumps right there. He loses his feet, but is able to hang on.
Loss of 6. Green on 2nd and 16. Back in a hurry. Here comes the heat. He looks deep. And Hall is back in coverage. No opportunity to complete that to Troy Mills, number 20.
Steve Anderson has really come to play, and you know the guys up front have to be smarting. They were in a war on Monday. Steve Anderson, though, has brought the heat a couple of times against Nealon Green. Anderson really the leader on that defensive line. Watch the good slap there to the outside on Chris Morris with the left hand, then come around the corner. Nealon Green felt him coming, had to throw that football when Troy Mills hadn't opened up yet down the field.
John Baker tries for the 2nd time. He was good from 14. This will be a little harder from the 42. Spotted there by Dan Crowley. And barefoot Baker boots it wide. Coleman slipping out of the end zone. Has a seam. Here's Marvin Coleman out to the 32-yard line. The returns have been sensational tonight. Crowley over to help out on the tackle along with Malvin Hunter. It's still 3-0 Edmonton. Alan Pitts on the verge of a little CFL history, 38 yards away from becoming the all-time leading receiver in this great game. And overtaking Ray Elgard.
He's on pace for a 1,500-yard season, which would be his 4th best. Of course, his best ever year was back in 1994 when he put up 2,036 yards and 21 touchdowns. 38 yards more, he becomes the all-time leading receiver in Canadian Football League history. Hasn't seen the ball tonight, though.
No, he hasn't been close to the football.
Edmonton 46.
Alan Pitts wants to get the record out of the way. You talk to any player that's on the verge of breaking a big record like that, they don't like to talk about it because it's a distraction in some ways, and it's a distraction to the team because the media keeps talking about it, the media keeps asking the questions, and all Wally Guano and Alan Pitts are concerned about is winning a football game.
3 flags on the return of the wide field goal. Penalty puts Calgary back near the 20-yard line. Danielson. Solid beginning to this evening for Danielson. Charles Anthony forced him out.
When you talk about Dave Dickinson, you know, maybe would he look for Alan Pitts just to get him the record in a hurry and get it out of the way? That's not going to happen. Dave Dickinson will make his reads like he normally does and go to the receiver he's supposed to throw the football to. Right now, the game plan has been set up a little bit around Vince Danielson to beat this zone defense Edmonton's been throwing at him.
9 yards for Danielson, 2nd and 1. For Dickinson and the Stampeders. Dickinson looks to put it up. He's got Danielson one more time out at the 40-yard line. Another Calgary 1st down. The Stampeders have moved the ball from deep in their own zone, but they haven't been able to get to the end zone, and they missed their only field goal try.
Give you an example. I mean, that time Vince Danielson was running the over pattern. Alan Pitts was on the under. Alan Pitts was well covered by Torrey Hunter, and he was the short one. See, Torrey Hunter takes the inside position. This is why Pitts isn't getting the ball. That's a well-covered play by Torrey Hunter. They go to Danielson over top.
It's also a height mismatch there, isn't it? 1st and 10, Stampeders at the 40. Another flag. Kelvin Anderson out to about the 43, 3, maybe 4 yards. Doug Peterson made the tackle, number 94.
One of the keys to the Edmonton defense, and they have really picked up their game against the run over the last 3 weeks, has been the play of linebacker Terry Ray. Terry Ray was playing halfback.
Offside. Edmonton 46. First down repeated.
That's Malvin Hunter. Continue.
Terry Ray was playing halfback at the beginning of the season in the defensive secondary, and he moved up to the linebacking core versus Saskatchewan a couple weeks back and has really solidified that linebacking core. Very physical player. He's got the capabilities obviously to cover, but he's really shown Don Matthews he can step up on the run as well.
On 1st and 5, Alan Pitts is 5, maybe 6 yards closer to the all-time record. His first catch of the game.
Alan Pitts, we talked about at the beginning of the game, has been one of those receivers that really has it all. I mean, he's got great size at 6'4", very good speed, but this is what's been amazing about Alan Pitts, his ability to find the open area. See, he finds the open area, sits down in between Ray and the corner out there on the end. He has an uncanny ability to find open field.
And he's 32 yards away from Elgard's milestone. Here's Kellen Anderson. Gain of about 3. Tough running against these Eskimos last week, and this Peterson has been particularly effective tonight. Got another tackle there.
I always think about Alan Pitts, and you think about performances in the big games, and games like Labor Days and games in the playoffs. Alan Pitts in the playoffs averages 92 yards in 11 playoff games. He's close to 100 yards in every playoff game that he's been in. There's no bigger game than a playoff game, and Pitts is always there for Calgary.
2nd and long for the Stampeders, trying to get across midfield. Dickinson swings it to Anderson, sliding out of the backfield. Anderson puts his head down and hammers for a first down. Charles Asman, number 30, who has been playing exceptionally well for the Eskimos in the middle, made the tackle.
That's another first down for the Stamps.
Kelvin Anderson's just going to come out of the backfield, fly out here, and with all the linebackers dropping deep, Dave Dickinson makes the read to just dump it off and let the athlete get the first down in his own. He goes out of the picture, and now here he is, and look how deep Marcelo Simmons is. It takes him a while to get up there, along with Charles Asman. Kelvin Anderson has himself a first down.
Stampeders are at the Eskimo 48. Dickinson will put it up, looking deep. Moore couldn't quite bring it down. Tight coverage by Eric Edwards, who's a rookie in the Eskimo lineup tonight. First CFL game ever.
Free agent signing, had a tryout with Philadelphia in the NFL, has been with the team since August, and they're glad to have him in the lineup. He's a rookie, so you know that they're going to go after the rookie here. Here is Travis Moore running the go route now. Pretty good coverage, stay on the heel, watch the football, time your jump. That's textbook coverage.
Interesting note here, Glenn. 2nd down average for the Stampeders in this one so far. 10 yards per play. So they're looking at 2nd and 10 right now. Will they convert again? Dickinson, shotgun. Markers are down. Pitts made the catch, but there is a penalty back at the line, so we'll see if we can total up the yards. After the call, Chris Hardy was over to make the tackle. So Pitts has 15 more if this stands.
I think Alan Pitts got a jump on that one. I believe this penalty's against him.
Calgary number 18. 2nd down repeated.
Yeah, he got that jump to the line of scrimmage. Slotback, of course, trying to time his route, make sure he hits the line of scrimmage on the fly. But he was about a half a yard over the line.
Daryl, we're at 0.
Gets called, so that yardage is taken off the list.
Should be the last play of the opening quarter. 2nd and 15 Stampeders. Dickinson will feel the heat. And he's nailed. Grant Carter gets his first sack as an Eskimo as he hammers Dickinson to the turf at Commonwealth on the final play of the opening quarter. Just one field goal so far.
You're watching Adidas Friday Night Football, and we're at the quarter. Brought to you by 1-800-HI-IT'S-ME. It's the cheapest way to call. Collect.
Welcome back to TSN Football Control. Schultz, Dunnigan, and Duffy here. And the return guys really dominating so far. 3 terrific returns, 2 of them by the Eskimos. And consider they don't even have their 2 best guys, Freddie Bailey and Gizmo Williams, 2 of the best guys in the league. They're not even in the lineup. So that's the flashy part. But it's the basic stuff down in the trenches for the Eskimos that has impressed you, Matt?
James, that's always the most important. Last week, Troy Mills, 127 yards on the ground. Edmonton dominated the line of scrimmage. Again, this week, it's going to be very, very important. Here you've got Nealon Green simply in a shotgun formation, reading this man right here, the defensive end, and he's just going to simply read him. If he comes upfield, he's going to give the ball to Troy Mills. St. Germain goes up on a second level, has a good block on Alondra Johnson. Troy Mills just simply does the rest. He takes it up the field and moves the chains. That is such simple execution, and positive results happen for him, Chris. That's the way they have to do it.
And for the Calgary Stampeders, they're pass blocking better already. I know the Grant Carter sack late in the quarter, but I like this because you can see on this play, nice jam on the line of scrimmage, 2 Eskimos defenders in a flat on their stomach. That's how you take away that leg drive on defenders. You smack them right on the line of scrimmage. Don't give up that ground. Nice pass blocking in that play. They got to do it all game long.
4 points was the difference in the first game between these 2 teams. 3 points was the difference on Labor Day. 3 points, again, the difference so far. Let's send you back to Commonwealth for second quarter action. Guys.
Grant Carter, the ex-Alouette, ex-Bomber, ex-Stallion, is having a reunion with his ex-Baltimore coach, Don Matthews, here. In his first game as an Eskimo, he gets a sack.
Coming off the edge, Rocco Romano tries to go with the cut block, and if you go with the cut block, you got to get your guy down on the ground, and he doesn't get Grant Carter on the ground. Of course, Carter played with Don Matthews in Baltimore, so when Tyrone Hines got injured on Labor Day, Don Matthews made the call to Grant Carter, and they're happy to have him.
111th Street and 102nd Avenue.
You know, he wasn't playing well, and he'll be the first to admit that in Winnipeg. But in Winnipeg, he was asked to do a lot of different things. He was asked to rush sometimes, drop sometimes, a lot like David Benefield was playing in BC. Grant Carter in the Edmonton scheme will be nothing more than a pass rusher.
And he was a pretty good rush end when he played with the Montreal Alouettes. There's no doubt about that. Stampeders into a 3rd and long situation. 3rd and too many to count, as Martino stands back at the 35. Martino just rejoined the team last week. Not quite in form, I'd suggest. This one very short. The Eskimos come up and will get good field position as a result out at the 47-yard line. Swindon leading the tacklers as Martino punted 17 yards.
I'm going to tell you something that's going to drive Wally Buono nuts. 9 minutes and 14 seconds in possession. They really dominated, but they not dominating on the scoreboard where it matters most. You possess the ball that long, you should be coming away with some points. And Calgary Stampeders keep getting in second long situations and not converting them.
No yards. Calgary 31, first down Edmonton.
Wally will not be a happy puppy on the far sideline, will he? He was very disappointed with the play of his team last week.
Well, he had some problems on special teams, a couple problems with penalties that kept drives alive for Edmonton on Labor Day, and felt like he had the game won. When you're on the 1-yard line and the defense has to give you a yard, you really should punch it in, and Mike McCoy couldn't get it done.
On first down, the Eskimos get 4, maybe 5. Troy Mills, who was effective last week, averages 5.8 yards per carry so far. He missed 5 games, but he's been running well the last couple of weeks.
Watch Bruce Beaton right here. Bruce Beaton, great block on Ray Jacobs. He just gets up underneath his pads and throws him to the turf. Bruce Beaton has been grading out one of the best linemen in Edmonton.
Nealon Green on 2nd and 7. He hasn't really been close to a receiver, has he?
No, he's really not throwing the ball that well today. He's overthrown a couple of receivers. That time he had Mark Tolbert on the out and threw it way too far. Tolbert hadn't come out of his break in time, and struggling a little bit as a passer. You know, he struggled on Labor Day as well. When he got it going is when he started running. He ripped off a long run against Calgary, and from that point on, he had some momentum.
He has to run to win, really, doesn't he?
No question about it.
Pat Kellett, averaging 41.4 yards, is in a hurry after 2 and out by the Eskimos. Coleman standing back near his 19-yard line. chased back to the 10 and wrapped up initially, but escaped somehow. And he's out near the 28. Stopped by Sean Millington, a 17-yard return. Rather a miraculous play when you look at it. A 48-yard punt with a 17-yard return. High snap. Kellen handles it and somehow gets it away. First and 10, just inside the 30. Calgary not on the board yet. Dickinson to his right. Has time to throw. There's Alan Pitts. And he's about 14 yards closer to the all-time record, wrapped up there by Chris Hardy.
This is an option route for Alan Pitts. And what I mean by option route is Alan Pitts has the option to continue on. He's in motion there. Watch him hit the line of scrimmage. Now he's reading coverage on the fly. He's looking at the secondary. Where are they? He's going to settle down right there because he reads zone. If it's man-to-man, he continues down the field.
Alan Pitts now 18 yards shy of the all-time receiving mark set by Ray Elgard. Dickinson looks over the middle and then down the sideline. Marcus Dowdell couldn't get a hand on it, or at least both of them. Anthony Fogle covering. Was Pitts open?
Pitts was open on the break. He was open on the break, no question about it. Dave Dickinson decided to go after it. Alan Pitts is going to run the little out, Dowdell down the sideline. Watch him on the break. Torrey Hunter way off him. See there? Open initially. Quarterback chose to go elsewhere.
18 yards away from a piece of CFL history, Alan Pitts. Stampeders look at 2nd and 10. Dickinson shovels it ahead and right into the hands of an Eskimo. Went right to Carter, intended for Anderson. Shortest interception in the history of the game, I do believe. But it was really a shovel pass just ahead. And Carter's had a big game thus far as an Eskimo.
Well, he's got the sack, and now he's intercepted a shovel pass. Quarterback shovel passes this one. He hits the gap and is right there, and the shovel pass comes right to him. How much does Grant Carter want to have a big game? You can't describe it. Grant Carter is in a tryout to get back in this league. He was sitting around for 3 weeks. He's been chomping at the bit. He's got a good start here tonight.
Eskimos at the Stampeder 35. Troy Mills gets to the 30. All smiles, Grant Carter.
Hi, little Lally. I love you guys in Winnipeg. Good to be back.
That's the defensive coordinator for the Edmonton Eskimos, Rich Stubler, and Stubler has had a tough week. He's had some lineup changes. We talked about Grant Carter. He's had some secondary changes. He's got to keep things simple, but he is a mastermind when it comes to defense, and he's got him a good game plan here so far tonight.
2nd and long. Green goes to the shotgun. Here comes the heat. Green away from it. Maybe not for long, but he bounced it. Donnie Ashley was open, and Green has not been hot so far tonight.
I got to show you the pressure from the... Here's the line for the Calgary Stampeders. Now, watch how they have to come off in a controlled rush. See, they really can't make super pass rush moves. You see how they gear it down? Steve Anderson goes by the back. Now, you see how Ray Jacobs has to keep his feet moving, and Jermaine Miles? They can't take off on Nealon Green. That's what a great running quarterback will do. It buys him more time with the threat of him running.
John Baker good on 1 of 2. Make that 2 of 3. The Eskimos have a couple of field goals. The Calgary Stampeders have nothing. It's Adidas Friday Night Football live from Commonwealth.
Adidas Friday Night Football is brought to you in part by AT&T Canada, the network the world works on.
These two guys can't get enough of each other. They were together at McMahon 97.5 hours ago. They said goodbye, farewell, and then met again here tonight. Kelvin Anderson returning for the Stampeders out across the 30 to about the 33-yard line. Dave Dickinson has put up some numbers that aren't all that bad in one way, but he has 0 touchdowns and 0 on the scoreboard.
Not bad passing percentage, but he's not getting the ball down the field. He's been dumping it off to Calvin Anderson out of the backfield. Know that the Edmonton defense has to play basic zone coverage or basic man-to-man coverage, so they can't get too fancy with the changes.
Alan Pitts 18 yards away from a piece of CFL history. He is 18 yards shy of the all-time receiving record set by Ray Elgar. It might just happen on this drive. Dickinson looks to the far side, and he's got Alan Pitts out at the 50-yard line. There's a marker in the backfield. So he got 16 yards if it counts. He's already had one pass play call back.
Here comes the call.
Major foul, roughing the quarterback, Edmonton 17, first down Calgary.
So Pitts is 2 yards away.
Well, here's how he got a good chunk of it down into the sideline. 16 yards on this one. He's 2 yards now away from passing Ray Elgar again. So the man-to-man coverage, Torrey Hunter can't get there. He had him turned around. 2 yards away for Alan Pitts.
Next catch will do it. First down, Stampeders. Dickinson has Anderson sliding out of the backfield away from one Eskimo tackler. Anderson has done a great job, and Anthony Fogel comes over to make the tackle.
He's just 2 yards away. We're talking about Alan Pitts to pass Ray Elgar. He's not going to do it on this play, because on this play, his assignment is to block. He's going to come off the line of scrimmage, block Terry Ray, and hey, does a nice job of it. Keeps Terry Ray out of the play.
Set up an 8-yard gain. 2nd and 2. Stampeders showing a little more life on this drive. They had an opportunity for a Mark McLaughlin field goal earlier. It sailed wide. 2nd and 2, Stampeders. Dickinson avoids the rush. Flags everywhere as he finds Travis Moore.
Well, you know we've got all eyes on Alan Pitts.
Marcelo Simmons in the backfield providing the hurry for the Eskimos.
As he approaches this record, he was the underman on that last pattern and was basically tackled.
On the receiver, Edmonton 46.
Yeah,
first down.
Melvin Hunter basically tackled Alan Pitts on the play. Watch Alan Pitts. He's the underdog. He's coming across. Torrey Hunter lets him go because he's playing zone. Now watch the tackle there by Melvin Hunter. Turns him around. That's where he got the contacting the receiver. We'll line up again. 2 yards away.
Stampeders first down. Alan Pitts a couple to go. Dickinson keeps it on the ground with Calvin Anderson. Anderson broke from the Eskimo tackling unit. And Hardy had to come up from a safety spot to make the stop. Anderson having a pretty good night.
Hardy and Hunter in on the tackle.
Averages about 5 yards a carry usually, and he picked up a first down there. Gain is 12.
George Cortez, the offensive coordinator for Calgary, understands the importance of Calvin Anderson. Sometimes he says the game plan will unfold and he's not seeing the ball quite as much, but going in, the plan is always to get him the football.
Another Stampeder first down as the drive continues. Play action fake. The touchdown toss to Vince Danielson. Stampeders finally find a way to get to the end zone. Danielson has a 15-yard touchdown toss from Dave Dickinson.
Well, Dave Dickinson finally starts to mix up the offensive play calling. He goes to Calvin Anderson a couple of times. He goes to Alan Pitts for a 16-yarder on the drive. And then to cap it off, he gets Vince Danielson on the crossing pattern, and Chris Hardy can't break up in a hurry to make that play. To stop that play, Danielson's in the end zone.
Danielson, the busiest of the Stampeder receivers so far tonight. 4 catches, almost 50 yards. Even ball game, and McLaughlin will settle that right now to give the Stampeders a 1-point lead.
We'll have to wait one more series for Alan Pitts to break the record.
Guaranteed it's going to happen tonight, but Danielson has the first touchdown for the Calgary Stampeders, who now have a 7-6 lead on Adidas Friday Night Football.
They're giving all they've got. Let's play a little football. Come join the party tonight.
Prove it. This is the Radical Party of Canada, where our platform is play hard and party harder. Join the party for just $24.95 and receive an exclusive T-shirt, button, and card. Call 1-877-888-4CFL, and you could also enter to win one of 2 trips to the '99 Grey Cup. Call now. Give a damn. Join the party.
As your engine revs higher, the oil inside creates a protective wedge that builds up and keeps engine parts separated. But as your oil's viscosity breaks down, so can the wedge. That's why there's Castrol GTX, the only leading 10W30 that provides maximum protection against both viscosity and thermal breakdown. Because if your oil breaks down, what's next? Castrol GTX. Drive hard. And try Castrol Syntec Blend for added synthetic protection.
Oh boy, am I hungry. I need to narrow down my choices here. I'll have a sub. No, wait, a wrap. Maybe a soup. Oh, look at all the veggies. That's it. I'll have a sub, salad, and a drink. Wait a sec, fries? Mr. Sub's got fries? Oh, like I didn't have enough choices already. Oh, crispy. And 79 cents. Okay, that's it. I'm overwhelmed. There's always something good going down at Mr. Sub.
Calgary's Vince Danielson has his 6th touchdown reception of the season. The Stampeders have moved out in front by a point, 7-6 in the Eskimos.
One of the key plays on the drive was Alan Pitts across the middle, drawing the interference call or the illegal contact call on Melvin Hunter. Melvin Hunter has to drop. He sees that he's going to be late, so he does the old hog tie on Alan Pitts. That kept the drive alive, and Danielson capped it off.
No return at all for Swinton, who was forced to catch the ball right on the sideline. 57-yard kickoff.
The inside receivers for the Calgary Stampeders in the 90s have been the key. You think back to Dave Sapungis before Vince Danielson. They've always been grooming Canadian slot back to play the opposite side of Alan Pitts. Alan Pitts, of course, his first year, 1990, and he has been as good as it gets.
He has dominated the decade and is 2 yards away from becoming the all-time CFL leading receiver. Something an old teammate of yours, Ray Elgard, holds on to right now, but it's a very tenuous grip that Ray's got on that particular record. Pitts is only 2 yards shy. Eskimos have averaged just 3 yards on first down. The Stampeders 7.2. So there's a big difference in production there. Elon Green has a 5-receiver set, looks to the far side, and he's on the money. Hampton made the tackle. Tolbert made the catch.
Well, there is really a pit battle going on right now between Bruce Beaton and Ray Jacobs. We've seen the matchup a couple of times. Beaton really did a nice job on the last series. Watch him again. Here's Bruce Beaton on Ray Jacobs. See the good feet. Got good feet movement. He drops back and he keeps his hands inside. As long as your hands are inside on the shoulder pad plates that are on the chest, it's not holding. You can grab the jersey in there. You can't get him outside. Bruce Beaton's having himself a game.
10 yards on the nose for an Eskimo first down. Green takes out. And he was thinking run almost immediately up to the 35, so he's about halfway to a first down and wrapped up by Jermaine Miles.
Excellent speed by Steve Anderson and great reaction because he has the double play. He has to go upfield on Bruce Beaton in the same position. He's got to come upfield, and then when he sees the run, he's got to come back down and help out on the tackle. And good explosion. Watch, see Bruce Beaton pushes him wide, thinking he's out of the play. He comes back and gets in on that tackle to hold Elon Green.
Gain actually 6, 2nd and 4. Green from the shotgun. Mills takes it, and penalty markers are down. So is Mills, dropped short of a first down by Darrell Hall.
One of the things Wally Buono is going to address, I guarantee you at halftime, will be the penalties. They're happening at key times. I believe on that play, Ray Jacobs had jumped offside, and you know he is angry about it. Is keeping drives alive for the Edmonton Eskimos.
Calgary 92. First down, Edmonton.
Well, they called Steve Anderson. I believe Ray Jacobs was also off in the neutral zone. So, you know, it's tough to play 4 days later. You know, I mean, these guys are trying to get past it physically and mentally. And this is where it comes down to. Mentally, are you going to be focused in the football game?
Stampeders have taken the majority of the penalties. sets up this Edmonton first down. Reggie Swindon makes the catch. Coleman makes the tackle, number 17 for the Stampeders. So Green has a little something going here, 2 passes in a row.
Well, what's surprising me, though, is that Elon Green is running the spread set, and they're going with a lot of passing on first down. You talked about their poor first down production, just over 3 yards on first down. They're forgetting about Troy Mills.
Green did up his percentage a little bit with a completion, but he only picked up 3 yards, so this is 2nd and 7. He's only been good on 4 of 11 for 41 yards. Here's his 12th try, and well over the head of the intended receiver, Ed Hervey.
Calgary Stampeders decide to go with some pressure on 2nd and long, and it comes from the secondary and Shad Chris. He's going to come off the edge on Elon Green, force him to throw the football when he doesn't want to. Mike Roach, defensive coordinator, feeling like they got to send some pressure to make something happen. See, Shad Chris was awfully excited in there. He wanted to get that sack. Elon Green let go of it just in the nick of time. Defensive backs love to get a sack every now and then, because you have to play against the quarterback in that cat and mouse game while he's throwing the ball down the field. You get a chance to rush. You really want to put the hit on.
Did you keep track of your sacks when you played?
Yeah, I could on one hand.
Marvin Coleman draws a marker on the return. And there's another one back at the line. 5-yard return, 41-yard punt. So tell me, how many sacks did you get during that wonderful run you had with the Rough Riders?
I don't know, 1 or 2 maybe. I remember a couple in the West Final right here in Commonwealth.
Did you ever get to Dunnigan? Or was he too fast for you?
Dunnigan was a little too fast for me. Dunnigan and I locked horns a couple of times.
Well, I saw that pillow fight you guys had on the goal line a few weeks ago.
I loved playing against him, though, because he was a great competitor, and you knew you had to be at your best against Matt Dunnigan.
Matt and Chris and James coming up at halftime. Interesting contest, to say the least. 7-6, Stampeders on top of the Eskimos.
Holding, Calgary 98. No yards, Edmonton 15. First down.
Not much changes when you do that and that, right?
Nope.
Ball is back at the 31-yard line.
Well, I love to listen to defensive players talk about Elon Green. And they just think that he is going to be one of the future stars. And people just that have played against him just say, I have never played against a guy that can run the ball like that from the quarterback.
Londra Johnson says he's the quickest quarterback he's ever seen. Dickinson hands off to Anderson. Anderson has been running well, lost the ball. The Stampeders will retain possession and went out of bounds. Doug Peterson over there on the tackle. We're watching Alan Pitts very closely tonight because that's the story. He's a yard behind Ray Elgard, so a 2-yard catch and he becomes #1 all-time in CFL receiving yards.
See, Ray Elgard 14 seasons, Alan Pitts 10, but Alan Pitts missed a whole season due to injuries, one with a knee injury and one with a hand injury. So really 5 years quicker Alan Pitts has come to this point.
2nd and 5, Stampeders out across the 35. Dickinson. Alan Pitts, simply the best. He made the catch, no flags. There's the new CFL record holder.
Football is the ultimate team game, but football fans in this country have had the opportunity to watch individual dominance from number 18, Alan Pitts. No one has done it better in this game.
The CFL record for total yards gained by a pass receiver now belongs to Alan Pitts of the Calgary Stampeders. Congratulations, Mr. Pitts.
Take a bow, Alan. It's not often a Stampeder gets a standing ovation in this place.
And at the end of this drive, he is going to want to take that football and put it in the trophy case. They got to use it now, though.
They won't let him take it away. Alan Pitts, #1 all-time in receiving yards, and it keeps the Stampeder drive alive. Anderson out across the 52. Another marker is down on the field.
Anderson, the ball carrier, tripped up by Peterson.
Here it is. This is the record breaker from Alan Pitts. on the out route. Puts him over the top. All-time leader in Canadian Football League history right there.
Terry Ray can say I was there that day.
That'll be the trivia question. Who threw him the football? Dave Dickinson.
And who was covering?
Terry Ray.
And, you know, Terry Ray's having a great season for the Edmonton Eskimos, but that little bit of video is going to be played, replayed, and remembered for a long time. And you'll see number 28 running after Pitts on the out pattern. Little play action fake. Marcus Dowdell, the ex-Eskimo, is off. And short of the first down on 1st and 15, Anthony Fogle made the tackle.
Well, here is the top 3 in Canadian football. Ray Elgaard now slips to number 2, and he did it 5 years faster. 220 games as opposed to 150 for Alan Pitts. Don Narcisse and Alan Pitts, of course, both still playing. Narcisse wants to play 2 more years after Alan Pitts retires.
Second down. The Eskimos need 2 to get across the 51-yard line. Kelvin Anderson somehow found a way to accelerate and turn the corner. That was a pretty nice run. I thought he was
yeah, Charles Asman
collared back there.
Well, it looked like he had him. I mean, it was a tough play for Charles Asman because he's got to both play the quarterback on the option and he's got to move out and play Kelvin Anderson. Just didn't have the quickness to get to the outside and hold Anderson short of the first down, but that was a tough one for him because he had to make Dave Dickinson pitch it first.
Travis Moore to the near side, number 83, Marcus Dowdell. Far side of the field, 4 receiver set for the Stampeders. Dickinson has a pretty nice drive going. Look deep and then look to Danielson, who turned.
Yeah, he turned.
Before he held onto the football. He heard someone coming, and I don't know if you can blame him on that. Who was in the tracks? Alan Pitts has done it at Commonwealth. He is the all-time leading receiver in CFL history. You saw it on Friday night. All ready to talk about this one. It's the rematch from Labor Day, and it's close again. Stampeders on top 7-6.
Well, I'll tell you what, it hasn't been easy all the time for Alan Pitts. Think back to 93 with the knee injury. Missed half the season. 97, he had a hand injury. Missed half the season. He has had to put personal problems behind him throughout his career. And in just 10 short years, has become the all-time leader in Canadian Football League history.
Over 13,000 yards in receptions. That's 7.5 miles or 12.1 kilometers.
I don't even think I could run that far today.
Talking today or career?
Well, I had to cover him throughout my career, and boy, he can give defensive backs fits.
And I don't imagine there's a DB in the league who hasn't been beaten by Alan Pitts if he's been around for any length of time. Dickinson is wrapped up one more time. Melvin Hunter was there waiting and put a bear hug on Dave Dickinson.
What a great game Melvin Hunter had on Labor Day. He really stepped up his game when it was most important. Melvin Hunter makes another big play right here. Comes off the corner. I want to tell you something. Alan Pitts down the seam on this play was wide open. Alan Pitts is wide open down the seam, but he can't get there because Hunter, on a little bit of a stunt to the inside, gets home.
Second sack of the game for the Eskimos, second of the season for number 46, Melvin Hunter. And another kicking situation for Martino, who had a very unfortunate thing happen to him the last time when he punted at 17 yards. This will be better. Maybe it's blocked. Eskimos come through, and the Eskimos have a chance with Martino, the only one to catch. Ricky Walters, touchdown Edmonton. 45 yards. Batson blocked it. Walters took it. 45 for the TD.
It looked like a replay of Labor Day. Andre Batson also blocked one on Labor Day that set up an Edmonton score. 4 days later, he does it again. And this time they score on the play. Ricky Walters picks it up and takes it in the end zone. Huge turnaround for the Edmonton Eskimos.
Great celebration. It's back to school night at Commonwealth and a great crowd on hand to cheer on the Eskimos who beat Calgary on Monday and have the lead on Friday. It's been a long week of football in Alberta.
Calgary Stampeders are having some special teams problems because Andre Batson, third guy right here, unblocked as he goes straight after Tony Martino, lays out perfectly, gets his hands on that football, and then it's a foot race. Ricky Walters scoops it up. Andre Batson, back-to-back huge play.
Ladies and gentlemen, we digress. The sack attack.
Walters sailed into the end zone. The only player who had a chance was Martino, and he wasn't going to catch it. The block by Batson.
Unbelievable. One of the most exciting plays in football is the block kick. Andre Batson's done it twice.
Number 11 in green and gold has a little more speed than number 11 in red and white. Here's Ken Chillibeck.
Okay, the all-time pass receiver in the CFL, Alan Pitts. Alan, just talk about your accomplishment.
Well, first of all, I just want to give the glory and honor to God. You know, I appreciate everything he's done. Helped me to continue to work hard. You know, I feel good about it, but the main focus is a win tonight. Just want to say what's up to Dame and DB out in BC, and thank you so much for what you guys have done and helped me get to where I'm at today as well. All right, thank you.
Kelvin Anderson.
Alan Pitts, the all-time pass receiver in league history. Guys, back to you.
Eskimos added Jed Roberts to the roster for the first time this year because their special teams sucked last week.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Matthews was embarrassed by it, and that's what he said. So they've added Jed Roberts, who's the all-time special teams tackler for the Eskimos. He's been on the shelf with a serious injury, finally worked himself back into the lineup, makes a big tackle there on Anderson.
He also put Picasso Nelson on the roster for that reason, and the reason is coverage teams. You're right, he was not happy a Labor Day game, and right now Wally Buono's not happy with penalties and a block kick against his team.
Into the final 2 minutes. First down, Calgary. Near side, Dowdell has a first down for the Stampeders. He's out across the 45. Gain is 15 yards.
You know, I just, one more time, go back to Alan Pitts. And I just want to say congratulations to Alan Pitts because, you know, when you have to battle through some of the things that he has done, and he thanked Danny Barrett out in BC, who, of course, was a quarterback here in Calgary when he started. Congratulations to Alan Pitts. Well-deserved.
Caught a few from Flutie, caught a few from Garcia, catching a few from Dickinson, Danny Barrett. There's been a lot of quarterbacks who contributed to that success. Here's Kelvin Anderson having a good night and taking a couple of big hits. Anthony Fogle there, number 5, on Anderson after he made the catch and a 5-yard gain.
Talk about big, this is a big drive. This is a big drive for Wally Buono, and right now, there's going to be paint peeling off the walls in the Calgary locker room. Wally Buono is going to go in and address two things: special team assignments and penalties that have kept drives alive. He is ready to explode.
Stampeders are 2nd and 6. Calgary 51. Dickinson shotgun under the cover. Danielson makes the catch and a good move to grab a few more yards. Plenty for the first down. If it stands, there's a marker down.
Coming back. Coming back, holding against Calgary. Penalty. Penalty.
Holding. 62 Calgary. Second down and 50.
Jung-Yul Kim into the lineup, replacing Jay McNeil. Really struggled last week against the front four for the Edmonton Eskimos.
11th penalty against the Stampeders. It's cost them 93 yards, and it ends, or at least it makes this drive a little more difficult, looking at 2nd and 15 now.
Right in here. He's going to get the holding call, and that's more like a tackle call on Doug Peterson.
Stands back at the 40. Dickinson stands in, has time, looks deep, and a little too far. The intended target was Travis Moore.
The intended receiver pass is incomplete.
1:25 till halftime. The Eskimos are leading by 6.
Well, young Yul Kim has his hands full right now with Doug Peterson. It's everything he can do to keep him out of the backfield. Here they are right there. Well, it's a matchup. They had to tackle him on the last one. Look at this. Now he just keeps working him to the outside. Pretty good technique. Allowed Dave Dickinson to throw that one, but the Calgary Stampeders came into this game the worst in the league in the penalty department.
Tony Martino, back from the Philadelphia Eagles, is not having a fun time at Commonwealth tonight. His last one was blocked. Previous punt traveled 17 yards. And the Eskimos have had some big returns on kickoffs and punts. This is RT Reggie Swinton. Swinton doesn't have much space on the near side. He's out about the 41, forced out by Dwayne Ford.
Closed captioning of this program is brought to you by Gibson's finest 12-year-old Canadian whiskey.
Dave Dickinson took a pounding last week. Well, I guess earlier this week is the best way to say that.
Yeah.
Only about 100 hours ago on Monday afternoon. The Eskimos hammered him. They've been through to sack him twice tonight. He hasn't been as effective as he'd like to be and has only 1 touchdown on the board. Eskimos have a chance here with 1:15 to go. Nealon Green. Herbie says, I caught it, but they rule otherwise. Coverage by Sutton.
Well, we love taking a look at some of the pit battles that are going on. Watch this one. Bruce Beaton on Ray Jacobs, and Beaton has really been doing a number on Jacobs here this evening. He's got his hands on the outside there a little bit, but didn't grab on, didn't close the fist and grab the jersey, so didn't get the call for holding. Bruce Beaton's having a game.
2nd and 10 for the Eskimos at the 40. 1:12 till halftime. Edmonton by 6. Nealon Green looks to escape, and he gets out of there. Sliding near first down territory, wrapped up by Jacobs. 25 years ago this week, Dieter Brock had his first start in Canadian football. It was right next door here at Clark Stadium. And the Eskimos beat the Bombers 24-2. Things got better for Dieter after that, and he made the Hall of Fame. That was a game, and I believe it's the last time it's ever been tried, but Tom Wilkinson, the Eskimo quarterback of the day and the era, tried a drop kick in that football game. He missed. But Deep the Treat had a pretty good run with the Bombers and the Tiger Cats. And he's running the Eskimo offense. He's got a great young quarterback to work with. Wilkinson had a pretty good run with the Eskimos too, didn't he?
Oh, yeah.
And now with the Golden Bears as the head coach.
Well, Dieter Brock, now the offensive coordinator and 2-time winner of the Outstanding Player Award. And now, you know, when he's coordinating this offense with a guy like Nealon Green, he knows, let him run the football.
Now, the day of Dieter's first game in Canadian football, Gerald Ford pardoned Richard Nixon 25 years ago. Coleman is deep for the Calgary Stampeders. Kellett sails a high one. 1:01 to go. Stampeders look for a return and a chance to put a couple of points on the board. Out to the 30 with less than a minute, 55 seconds left on the clock. 42-yard punt, 10 on the return for Coleman. Alan Pitts took a record away from Ray Elgard. Ray Elgard took one away from Howdy Doody. Brian Kelly. That's what they used to call him in the Eskimo dressing room when he had such splendid years with Edmonton. 1979 to 87.
Early 80s, Brian Kelly. Think of Terry Greer. But the 90s have been all Alan Pitts.
A lot of pretty good guys beat you for touchdowns.
Beat a lot of guys for touchdowns.
I know. Here's Pitts. He's out in field goal range already, out to the 50-yard line. Anthony Fogle made the tackle.
Well, speaking of touchdowns.
Now, if Brian Kelly beat me for a touchdown, I wouldn't be embarrassed. Neither would I be if it were Alan Pitts.
Well, and speaking of touchdown, Alan Pitts has a few of them, 105 coming into this game to be exact, which, of course, is an all-time best for receivers and number 2 all-time behind George Reed.
Out at the 50. Dickinson sees an opening and takes off. This should mean at least a field goal for the Stampeders on this drive as Dickinson slides at the 30. Last Monday, he didn't slide on a big play, did he? He put his head down and took a pretty good hit.
Yeah, and he hurt his shoulder again, and this time he's learned from it and gone down feet first, slide, so he knows he's not going to get hit. But with 38 seconds, he has time to run a couple more plays here, at least probably 3 or 4 more.
He has time to get to the end zone, thanks to a couple of big Stampeder plays. There's the toss, and there's the touchdown. Alan Pitts finishes off the drive that he started. And what a receiver he really is, folks. He made a big play to keep the drive alive. He set the record tonight, and he has the Stampeders back to even with the Edmonton Eskimos. Alan Pitts, simply the best.
No question. Down the seam, Chris Hardy decides to go the opposite way. Double team Vince Danielson, and when he does, he leaves Alan Pitts wide open to the wide field. Touchdown number 106 for number 18.
And a great drive for the Stampeders, who sputtered a time or two in the early going. Alan Pitts behind George Reed. There's a few to go there to catch George. And he's passed Brian Kelly and a few other notables in Canadian football in the touchdown category. 106 touchdowns for Alan Pitts.
Look at that night already.
Another 100-yard ball game.
Talking about a half of football. He's already over 100 yards receiving on the night that he breaks Ray Algard's record. He's putting on a show.
Really quite terrific when you think about it, when milestones are reached and you're doing something spectacular on that evening as well. Not just catching a pass and maybe getting over by a yard or two. He's caught Ray Algard and surpassed him and adds another touchdown to the total, puts the Stampeders up by a point with 26 seconds to go.
Well, it's been one of the distinguishing factors about Alan Pitts' career is his work ethic. And, you know, when you come to a game, if you come to a game early that Alan Pitts is playing in, he'll be the first one on the field, running patterns, full speed. He's the last guy to leave practices. And, you know, when you talk about guys that break records like that, that's usually one of the common denominators, is they're always very hard workers and they get the most out of the talent they have. Alan Pitts wide open on that play and in the end zone for number 106 on his career. There really hasn't been anyone better.
Stampeders kickoff. Coming down to Reggie Swinton at the 15. Across the 30. And 21 seconds to get something done for the Edmonton Eskimos.
The return for the Eskimos brings it up.
3 plays, 81 yards.
2 of them were Pitts.
Yeah, a 32-yard touchdown included. The touchdown. Pitts wide open.
Well, he's one-on-one with Torrey Hunter. Chris Hardy, the safety I mentioned, left the middle of the field. Hardy took off. And there's Pitts wide open across the middle. Hardy can't get there.
It'll be first and 10.
And one forward.
From their own 34-yard line.
6 catches, 112 yards, a record, and 1 touchdown. Not a bad night for Alan Pitts. Time winding down in the first half.
You think of all the injuries the Edmonton Eskimos came into this game with, and everyone thought that the Calgary Stampeders would dominate. Here we are going in at halftime. It's a 1-point game.
This is the final match of the millennium for the Stampeders and the Eskimos. It's also the final match of the decade. And as the 90s wind down, Wally Buono is 1 victory behind his Eskimo counterparts. 30th meeting between these two teams in the 90s. Edmonton has won 15. The Stampeders have won 14.
The rubber match may be the playoffs.
They could meet in the playoffs. They will meet after halftime. Hang in with us for Chris, James, and Matthew.
The nation. We have a 1-point football game at halftime. Calgary up by 1 over Edmonton. Don Matthews has to be happy with his special teams. Got another block punt. Not so good with his defense, though. Calgary has been moving the ball very well. He spoke with our Ken Chillibeck.
Just your assessment of your team's play in this first half, Coach.
Well, you know, our secondary, we're really having a difficult time. We've missed a couple of checks, broken a couple of coverages, and gave up some big plays. We're playing hard, made some big special team plays, but we got to shore up our secondary.
Coach, thank you very much.
All right.
Thank you, gentlemen. There are your numbers. Edmonton with only 5 first downs. Don Matthews seemed to be worried about the defense, has to worry about the offense as well. As you see, Calgary also racking up 271 net yards of offense. Let's talk about the second half. Let's let you guys play coaches. Matt, what do you do if you're Edmonton?
Well, you need to start picking it up offensively. Couldn't do anything right offensively in the first half. They've had to rely on their special teams play. Big returns, block punts in order to put points on the board. That's not going to do it against the Calgary Stampeders. They're coming up the road in an angry mood, Chris, and they need to pick it up offensively, start dominating the line of scrimmage.
Edmonton Eskimos have to do something unusual to win this football game. They're going to have to block another kick. The Calgary Stampeders just played basic football in the battle of the quarterbacks. I give it to Dave Dickinson. 251 yards passing the football. Good decisions. Also completing passes in the pocket, out of the pocket to various receivers. He's had a great first half combined with a great Labor Day game. He's had like 6 great quarters of football right now, James.
All right, thank you very much, Chris. This game so far, well, it's been just the pits, and I mean that in a positive way. Allen, a record-breaking first half. His team leads by 1. Second half kickoff coming up.
Welcome back to Commonwealth. Check out the Calgary version of the Red Maple Leaf with the Stampeder horse right in the middle there. A few Calgary fans here, but a lot of Eskimo fans. Usually the biggest night of the season in Edmonton. We're ready for the second half kickoff with the Stamps up by a single point. R.T. Swinton. Whoa, upended as he crossed the 35. Ran into Cameron Legault. 13 on the return. Kevin Mason is the new Eskimo quarterback. Hasn't been around the Eskimo scene all that long.
No, he hasn't. And those are his numbers in his career. A few too many interceptions is one of the reasons that he was released in Saskatchewan. But Kevin Mason gives Don Matthews something that Nealon Green gives him, the ability to run with the football.
Not quite as quick, but he has decent speed. And it's an easier replacement than Dan Crowley, who's more of a drop-back passer to get things going for the Eskimos. First pass is almost intercepted. Ashley was the target. And Jack Kellogg almost had interception number 6.
Nealon Green has the coat on. Now, remember, 2 weeks back, Nealon Green had the hamstring injury. He played last week and talked to him yesterday at practice, and I asked him how the hamstring was. He says, it's hanging in there. You say it's hanging in there, it's obviously bothering him, and he wasn't having a good night.
Only passed for 41 yards. 2nd and 10. Eskimos back near the 35. Here's the heat on Mason. He escapes. Looking to throw on the run. And almost caught up with Donnie Ashley. Let's bring in Ken Chillibeck.
Yeah, thanks, guys. I was just talking to Don Matthews a few seconds ago, and he said that Nealon Green's hamstring was acting up on him again, and that's why he's not in the game right now. Kevin Mason in the game, obviously. I know Don Matthews early in the week was talking about Kevin Mason coming to this football club just because of his speed and his running ability. He wanted a player that would kind of be a similar style to Nealon Green, so that's why Mason is in here instead of Crowley. Guys, back to you.
Matthews said that Nealon Green runs a 4.3, and Kevin Mason is way slower at 4.35, which of course is a blink.
Kellett barely got it away. Marvin Coleman at the 30. Away from a couple. Coleman still standing, and he finds the 40-yard line. Head coach Wally Buono now with Ken Chillibeck.
Okay, Wally, assessment of your team's play in the first half.
Well, there was a lot of good and some bad, and you know, we had some mishaps there on special teams that really killed us.
The penalties, talk to the guys at the half about the penalties. Maybe?
Well, right now I think that's what's stopping us more than anything else. Offensively, if we stay away from the offsides and holding, we're moving the ball very well, and our defense is playing very well, and I think Alan Pitts should be congratulations for a great night and a great career.
Thank you very much.
We've done that already, Wally, but you can add yours as well. Alan Pitts has 60 100-yard games in his career. Kelvin Anderson has run well for the Stampeders tonight. And there again, more evidence of that, wrapped up by Malvin Hunter.
By the way, he said 60 100-yard games in his career. Alan Pitts, when he gets over 100 yards, the Calgary Stampeders are 50-9.
Just a little bit. A part of the success story of the Stampeders through the 90s. Alan Pitts has the record, if you're just joining us, for the most yards receiving in Canadian football history. Passing Ray Elgard of the first half, scoring a touchdown as well. Anderson on 2nd and 4, and he'll have the first down. Anderson had only 22 yards last week rushing. Well over that tonight.
847 career catches for Alan Pitts, 1,273 yards, 13,273 yards, and counting.
He's played in 149 games, counting this one tonight, and has 106 touchdown receptions. That's a pretty nice number. Stampeders first down out across the 50. Dickinson, shotgun. And on the money, Dave Dickinson. Travis Moore takes off. A race to the end zone, and Moore burns them. Touchdown, Stampeders. Travis Moore. That's his 6th of the year. Speed kills.
It does. Speed to burn, and they're on their horse in Calgary right now. Travis Moore got on his horse when he caught this football. Terry Ray, number 28, is going to take his drop and run into the coverage guy that's trying to hang with Travis Moore, and that was Torrey Hunter. You see right there, that cut off Torrey Hunter to the tackle, and Travis Moore, with his great speed, gets to the end zone.
Stampeders open the second half impressively. Travis Moore has the touchdown. Mark McLaughlin has the convert. And the Stampeders have a 7-point lead on the Eskimos. Make it 8. 21-13 on Adidas Friday Night Football. Go, Travis, go. The scoring drive was pretty quick.
Just took 3 plays. When you can go 58 yards in one play, it can be quick. And this is the 58 yards that Travis Moore put up on the board. He catches his crossing route and is gonzo. See ya. He's in the end zone in a hurry.
58-yard touchdown for this guy.
They want to quit. We got to take this one all the way. Hey.
Travis Moore. Don Ashley returning for the Eskimos. They've had some good returns tonight. This one not bad, actually, out to the 45.
Travis Moore beat Torrey Hunter on the touchdown. Torrey Hunter's having a bit of a tough night, but he has to fight through this. Watch this. There's a little drop by Terry Ray. He gets kind of turned around, and when he does, he runs into Torrey Hunter and cuts him off. See, he gets turned around a little bit, makes his drop. Now watch this. He breaks on the footballs too deep. Torrey Hunter and him run into each other. And that gives Travis Moore the opening to the outside. Outruns Chris Hardy.
And a couple of others.
First and 10, Eskimos from their own 45.
Eskimos with Kevin Mason at the controls to begin the second half. Some early movements. Jermaine Miles, 95, was the first one across the line of scrimmage.
See if he was drawn offside, because new quarterback comes in the game, the signals sound different to the offensive line. This time it's going against Calgary, so it'll be Jermaine Miles getting nailed on that one.
Nealon Green struggled in the first half, and the report is his hamstring is acting up again, so he's on the sidelines. That's Dan Crowley holding the clipboard there.
It's a cool night here in Edmonton, and temperature starts to drop. That's when muscle pulls start to tighten up. So Nealon Green on the bench. Kevin Mason gets his chance to show Don Matthews what he can do.
Mason looking at 1st and 5, the ball on the 50-yard line. Stampeders started slowly, but they have an 8-point lead now at 21-13. Mason from the shotgun. Almost intercepted again by Jackie Kellogg, who moved in front of the intended receiver, Ricky Walters.
Great break downhill by Jack Kellogg, one of the best halfbacks in the game this year. He landed right on the football, and he's still down, but he really came out of a cannon to make the break. Good outside technique, good outside leverage on the receiver. Now watch the break downhill, cut across, and then landed right on the ball on his ribs.
Kellogg leads Calgary interceptors, tied with William Hampton.
Labor Day, you talked to Jack Kellogg before the game. He said, I'm going to catch William Hampton in this game. He was one behind, got the interception, of course, on Monday. William Hampton, in his 5 interceptions, has 3 for touchdowns.
Yeah, so that's a little more impressive. Calgary halfback Jackie Kellogg off for a play or 2.
Landed right on the football on the rib cage. That hurts. It knocked the wind out of him. He got up smiling. Eric Sutton, the nickelback, will move to halfback, and Aldi Henry comes in and plays the extra DB, number 9.
2nd and 5. Edmonton at the Eskimo 50. Mason can't get away. Wrapped up and brought down by Shad Chris.
Going with a lot of people in the secondary. Shad Chris has come on a couple of blitzes, was very close to Nealon Green on a sack in the first half, and he's coming off the edge again on this play. Shad Chris right off the top of the line. He's going to come off the edge on the secondary blitz. It makes it look like he's going to jam the receiver, but he comes instead. He's back in the backfield.
2nd sack by the Stampeders. Eskimos in a kicking situation. Kellett back at his 32.
The Edmonton Eskimos, John, have forgotten about Troy Mills. Troy Mills is a big reason for their success on Labor Day.
At 127 yards on Monday at McMahon. Coleman won't have a play on this one. It sails out near the 25-yard line. 36-yard punt for Kellett. No return for the Stampeders.
36-yard punt angles it out of bounds. No return.
It was a great afternoon at McMahon, wasn't it?
Unbelievable. Packed house, sellout crowd. Of course, Edmonton hung on to win. Troy Mills, you talked about, he had the big game rushing. Travis Moore had a great game as well.
And then it came down to 1 yard, 1 second. And the Stampeders couldn't get it in the end zone. The Eskimos come away with a 3-point victory. I haven't heard anybody suggest that Wally Buono made the wrong call going for the touchdown there.
Not at all. And any one of his teammates, they were all cheering him on. There was some question, though. Mark McLaughlin was halfway on the field. Wally Buono called him off and decided to go for the win. Didn't work out, but I bet you if it happened all over again, he'd do exactly the same thing.
Stampeders begin this drive at the 15. Dickinson, 18 of 25, 295 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. And there's one more reception out to the 35, Vince Danielson. Big part of the Stampeders' success in the first half.
Sometimes you try and make a move on a receiver, it slows you down. Sometimes it's just a speed cut. That's what's called a speed cut. You run down the field as a receiver and you just accelerate when you turn the corner and run away from the defensive back. Don't stop and make a move. Don't chop your feet and shake your heads and shoulders. Speed cut to the inside and run away from them. Vince Danielson's done it all night.
Approaching 70 yards. Stampeders have a first down. Kelvin Anderson. He had a tough time running against this Eskimo front on Monday. Marcelo Simmons made the tackle there, number 17. The Eskimos hold him to a gain of about a yard.
Boy, receivers like to come up and punish, don't they? Look at that. This is punt. Okay, well, not really. Patty cake, bakers. Okay.
That's a pillow fight.
That's a pillow fight. But he did his job. He kept Charles Anthony away from the play.
Stamps look at 2nd and long. 6 receivers in there for Dickinson. Goes to the far side, and he comes up with a first down. Aubrey Cummings made the catch. Eric Edwards the tackle.
Dave Dickinson knew that he had a man uncovered coming on the blitz. It was Torrey Hunter. He had to move away. He had to move the pocket. See, Dickinson sees Hunter. See Hunter coming off the edge, the secondary blitz. He moves away, moves the pocket to his right, and gives him a few more seconds to deliver the football. Torrey Hunter's been matched up against Alan Pitts most of the night, and he's also moved out on Travis Moore. That time he blitzed.
Another Stampeder first down. A hole opens up for Dave Dickinson. He grabs about 7. Caught from behind by Grant Carter, 47. Playing in his first game for the Eskimos. He had a sack and an interception in the first half.
Yeah, he's really playing well in this game, and he's doing what he has to do, and that's accelerate and play well in his audition. And this is really another audition for Grant Carter. He has to prove to not only Don Matthews, but the rest of the league that he's still a player.
2nd and 4. This one whistled out.
Everyone points at everyone else.
Flags all over the place.
Wasn't me. Well, it certainly wasn't me.
You know, Dave Dickinson and Wally Buono right now are having success on first down. When you can get in 2nd and 5, 2nd and 6 situations, really opens the playbook.
Stamps averaging 8.27 on first downs in the first half. Fractions against the Eskimos.
Offside, Eskimos.
Well, with all the changes that Edmonton had to go through to get into this game and just to field enough players and all the calls Don Matthews had to make, he's got to be happy with the fact that he's still in this football game at this point.
35 new players have joined the Eskimos and seen action so far in 1999. There aren't many veterans on defense. Hunter, Leroy Blue, Robert Brown, Chris Hardy, that's about it as starters from last year.
Had to make a bunch of phone calls. He said for the first 3 days of the work week, he let the assistant coaches go out on the field with the team, and he was on the phone trying to round up players.
Added Picasso Nelson, who played for him in Toronto last year.
Well, there you go right there. I mean, 21 seasons between the three that you mentioned, Melvin Hunter, Robert Brown, and Leroy Blue, and then the rest of the defense have only played, as Eskimos, 74 games combined.
The middle linebacker, Charles Asman, is playing in his 3rd game as a starter. Dickinson. One hop that Dowdell was the nearest receiver. A little charge from Grant Carter one more time.
Yeah, Grant Carter's, he's coming right here. Watch Grant Carter get that pass rushing. Slides to the inside, sets his man up, and then moves to the outside. Rocco Romano goes upfield, and Romano tries to open up a little bit of a running lane.
3rd and inches for the Stamps.
3rd down, less than a yard to go. Stampeders can do that when it's not on the 1-yard line. They've done it a couple of times tonight.
The offensive line, after Labor Day, when they didn't get it on the 1-yard line and lost the football game, couldn't believe it, because they said when they went their surge at the line of scrimmage, Crysdale and the boys up front said, we were 2 yards in the end zone and we couldn't figure out how our quarterback couldn't be right behind us, at least that 1 yard that they needed for the touchdown. It was obviously a very disappointing loss for Calgary, and the way it happened. They feel up front that they can get a yard anytime they want.
First down, Calgary again. Dickinson, a little play action fake. Now steps up and throws. He's on the money. First down, Stampeders. Travis Moore.
A little play action gives Dave Dickinson a little more time. He's going to get the play action, but I love the way he steps up in the pocket. The pocket goes high on him. See Carter and Blue going high. He steps up strong, throws it a little bit on the run, and Travis Moore coming across the middle picks up the reception.
One tough customer, Dave Dickinson. 21 of 29. Not bad. 349 tonight. And another completion to add to that total. It's Danielson inside the 20-yard line. He's having quite a night. Both slot backs are for Calgary.
But really, you think of the production from the 2 slot backs. They are putting together a game tonight, and then Travis Moore on the outside's had a couple of big catches. Of course, he had the touchdown.
Travis Moore takes the knee on the play.
Travis Moore being attended to out near the 20-yard line. He might have been injured on the previous play. Pat Clayton, the athletic therapist for the Stampeders, checking out his hand.
Discount 1999 car and truck rentals.
This is the previous play that you were talking about. Travis Moore over the middle. He comes up with the catch. Charles Anthony goes to rip for that football, and looking at the hand, might have landed on the hand. See, his left arm is kind of rolled underneath there. They're checking out his wrist.
Wally is a little happier at the turn of events tonight, but he doesn't have this thing wrapped up yet. 21-13 Calgary. Stampeders had a very slow start, but they're on the move now. Calgary has put a touchdown up in the second half. Timeout had come. All right, partner, check out the game story for Walmart.
Well, the big night for Alan Pitts, over 100 yards. They usually win when Pitts gets 100, and of course he broke the all-time record that was set by Ray Elgard. Stampeders have scored in the second quarter, 14 late points. Dave Dickinson's having a huge night.
Yeah, 3 touchdowns, 363 yards. Calgary has 417 net compared to 79 for the Eskimos, and there's only 8 points difference on the scoreboard.
Of course, Nealon Green did not come out in the second half. It's been Kevin Mason for Edmonton.
That's the game story brought to you by Walmart. We sell for less every day. Attending to Travis Moore on the sidelines. It's a hand injury. We'll get an update as soon as we can. What a great drive for Dickinson here. Inside the 25, and he missed. A little confusion between quarterback and receiver.
Dave Dickinson threw to the zig, and Alan Pitts went to the zag.
Yeah, it's simple as that.
Basically, that's simple. Again, we talked about the read route. And what I mean is the read route is that Alan Pitts has a chance to read it on the fly. Either go down into the seam to the inside, go to the corner, or curl it up. He just has to expect Dave Dickinson to read his mind, and they usually do. But that time, there's some miscommunication.
Stampeders are 2nd and 10 at the Eskimo 19. Markers are down. Here's the heat on Dickinson. He escapes and has lots of room. He can score from here, and does. Dave Dickinson into the end zone. There's a marker down back at the line. 19 yards if it stands for a touchdown.
He's sneaky fast, isn't he?
Offside, Edmonton 30. Touchdown.
Dave Dickinson, when you talk about Dave Dickinson, you don't talk about his running ability, but he is sneaky fast. He can move the pocket around. He buys himself time with his feet, and he's got quick feet. That may be one nail the Edmonton Eskimos can't pull out of this coffin.
Eskimos are hurting on the roster and in the ball game right now. They're down by a couple of touchdowns. Mark McLaughlin hammers another point in. Dickinson engineers another impressive drive.
Dickinson gets some pressure up the middle from Doug Peterson, and when he does, that's what makes him flush out of the pocket. He wants to go to Alan Pitts, who got bumped. See, here comes Peterson around the corner. That flushes Dickinson. Then he sees the open real estate ahead of him. Marcelo Simmons, the only guy in the corner out there. Eric Edwards, the only guy that could get after him. And Dickinson, with his sneaky quickness, takes off. And it's Charles Asman right up here that is the guy who jumps offside, of course. That will be declined when you score a touchdown. Dickinson takes the free play and takes it to pay dirt.
Nice little touchdown scamper. Stampeders have a comfortable lead right now.
Well, I tell you, when I was watching that game on Labor Day, I got a whole new respect for Dave Dickinson.
Well, he's like the Energizer Bunny. Takes a licking and keeps on ticking. That's an amazing performance he put on last week to still be, or on Monday. I keep getting confused there. On Monday. It's only 5 days ago these guys met each other. But he was still standing at the end of the game. It was a 7-sack performance by the Edmonton Eskimo defense and about 8 other solid hits on the Calgary quarterback. Swindon returning for the Eskimos.
And John, you know, when he gets out of that game on Labor Day, Dave Dickinson, you know, got the scuba gear out and went underneath the ice tub.
I would think he would be in the tub for an hour or two.
He was in the tub, you know that. Had the ice on all the bumps and bruises, comes back and has really put together a tremendous football game, well over 300 yards passing. And here's the key play where he shows that he can run with it a little bit as well.
He ran effectively last week as well. 11 rushes, 88 yards coming into this. This play whistled down.
Now the Edmonton Eskimos have to try and come back and respond to the touchdown with a backup quarterback. And this defense in Edmonton is going to get tired with that time of possession. 25 minutes Calgary has had the football. You know the defense in Edmonton's wearing down. Kevin Mason's got to put a couple first downs together to give them a rest.
toss. Sort of. It was on a rope, but it was about 5 feet shy of Donnie Ashley with Chris covering.
There's a big crowd here in Commonwealth that are starting to get a little bit impatient. And you know one thing, Kevin Mason has not taken very many reps here in Calgary. Or, excuse me, Edmonton. Kevin Mason, his timing is going to be off. He doesn't get any of the reps in practice, or very few. But this crowd is getting impatient.
It's back to school night here at Commonwealth. Great crowd. Here's Mason, 0 for 4 thus far, running for his life. My gosh, he got hammered. So did the intended pass receiver. And the Eskimos are trying anything here. Ashley is shaken up. Mason walked away.
Val St. Germain is limping off the field. He came back and tried to get a block. I believe it was on Ray Jacobs. He hurt his knee. Kevin Mason took a pounding. Mason's going to come all the way this way, and then watch how when he turns around, number 57, there's Jacobs. 57 is going to come down here later and try to pick him up. That's Val St. Germain. Now watch this. Here he goes with the turn. Ray Jacobs trying to get on his horse. Here comes 57 with a little bit of a leg whip. That hurt his knee. Jacobs goes down, and then Mason takes a pounding.
St. Germain looks to be okay as he sits down at the Eskimo bench. Kellett hammers this one. Mark Coleman, far side, beginning at the 25. He's to about the 31. Matthews isn't used to 3-6 seasons. But the Eskimos are in the midst of their worst beginning since 1971. Matthews has made it his team.
He hasn't been on the bad end of too many of those blowouts. You think back to week 4 in Hamilton when they got annihilated. 27 consecutive seasons in the playoffs, and they got a battle, and this is a big crowd that is also not used to losing here in Edmonton.
Here you go. Count them up. There's 4 of 52,458 at Commonwealth on back-to-school night.
Only took you 3 quarters to count them all.
10th anniversary of back-to-school night. And a lot of kids get to come to football games, but they've sold over 40,000 full-price tickets for this game as well. As a matter of fact, over 47 if that number 52 is added in there.
Well, when you combine the Labor Day weekend and the great football we saw with big crowds in Calgary and, of course, in Hamilton as well, and Regina, and then you go 4 days later here in Edmonton, 52,000, that is what football is all about. And hopefully, as this season continues, more crowds like that show up down the stretch.
On 2nd and 6, Dave Dickinson has Travis Moore back in the game. Apparently his hand injury not too serious. Marcelo Simmons wrapped him up.
Little talking after the fact. It's easier to talk like that when you got the big lead. Travis Moore having a night as well.
He had a great time last week, didn't he? 8 for 106.
The primary targets for Dave Dickinson have been the inside receivers, Danielson and Pitts, but Travis Moore has also caught a few.
5 receiver set for Dickinson. Rolls to his right, decides he'll get the first down himself, sliding at the 55, right at midfield. Ran into Terry Ray. Ray just might be the best defensive player on the Eskimos this season. What do you think?
Well, I think he is. I mean, that's what they say, too, here in the coaching staff. As soon as they moved him down to linebacker, their run defense became that much better. But he has the ability to cover. He's like a tweener, like a Darryl Hall type for Calgary. He's the type of guy that you don't have to substitute for. You leave him in because he can stop the run. He's physical. But he can also walk out and cover a receiver. He started the year as a defensive back.
Another Stampeder first down this time, right at midfield. Little play action fake. And a long toss, complete to Marcus Dowdell. Inside the 5 and down to about the 1-yard line. Vogel made the tackle with Chris Hardy helping out, and there's a marker down after a 54-yard gain.
Defensive backs will always tell their teammates you want to get a ball call. And a ball call simply means when the football is in the air.
Major foul. Edmonton number 8, face mask. First down.
When the football is in the air, yell as loud as you can. Ball, ball comes. The Anthony Fogle waits too long to turn back. Marcus Dowdell comes back first, comes up with the catch, and then there's a face mask penalty in there afterwards on Chris Hardy. You got to get that ball call so you can turn around in time to see where the ball is located and come down. Dowdell gets involved in the action.
We saw a similar situation on Monday at about 6 o'clock Mountain Time. Stampeders on the 1-yard line. The Eskimos stopped them there and won the game. They won't stop them here. Kelvin Anderson has the touchdown into the end zone and forced out again. And Marcus tries to find a few Calgary fans in the stands. There are a few here.
Yeah, there's a few up there that made the trip. Highway 2. Well, you talked about the Labor Day game where they were held. Well, this time they turn around and hand it to Kelvin Anderson, because one reason you do that is that your running back has the option to go over the top of the pile or right through it, and Anderson chose to go through it.
Well, they thought of the quarterback taking it in because they only had one crack at it on Monday at McMahon. 1 second on the clock. They were on the 1-yard line. It was 3rd down, and they only had one opportunity. And the running back play does take a little longer to develop in a situation like that. They had 3 cracks at it if they needed it there. Dave Dickinson has put up great numbers. He may hit 500 tonight. 425 already, and there's a quarter to go.
The one interception was on a shovel pass as well to Grant Carter, so he has really put together a tremendous game after taking a pounding, and you know he has some toughness, and a Calgary fan getting the touchdown ball from Kelvin Anderson.
Their numbers matched. I guess that's why the ball went there. Number 32 to 32.
Pretty nice souvenir. It's an expensive souvenir. Kelvin Anderson likely have to pay for it.
How much do they cost these days?
I can't remember. I remember in the old days, he threw one in the stands. It was like 80 bucks, but I think they've gone up a little bit since then.
Well, Mark McLaughlin has just surpassed Dave Cutler, moving into 3rd spot on the all-time points leaders parade. Well, actually, it's a tie at this point.
Well, I think
237.
He'll beat it.
Tied for 3. Ridgway, who would have been nothing without you, is number 2. Dave Cutler won't be number 3 for long.
The toe puncher, Dave Cutler, a straight-on kicker. I believe the last.
I think in all of football anywhere. Swinton bobbles the return, gets it back, and the Eskimos are happy to have the ball at about the 34.
Everything working for the Calgary Stampeders. Mark McLaughlin close to moving ahead of Dave Cutler. Of course, Alan Pitts with the big night, passing Ray Algard had come all-time leading receiver in Canadian Football League history. There's Alan Pitts. More congratulations for him. Tremendous career, and it just continues to add to those great numbers.
Over 13,000. He's number 1 now. Eskimos having a tough second half. Now they've gone back to Mills.
Mason gives to Mills across the 40-yard line.
But it may be a little bit late at 35-13. 3 seconds to go till 3/4 time. Kevin Mason running the Eskimo offense with Nealon Green on the sidelines. His hamstring acting up again. But Green was really ineffective with only 41 yards passing in the first half.
Well, one thing that's a little bit surprising, see the guy holding the clipboard is Dan Crowley. He's has been the backup quarterback here in Edmonton. He's been here longer than Kevin Mason, so it's a little surprising that Mason's playing ahead of him.
Mason wasn't close to Walters. On the last 10 second down plays, the Eskimos have managed only 4 yards. That's the end of quarter 3. The rematch is a little different. The Stampeders are running away from the Eskimos on Adidas Friday Night Football.
You're watching Adidas Friday Night Football, and we're at the quarter. Brought to you by 1-800-HI-IT'S-ME. It's the cheapest way to call. Collect.
Well, you know, despite the fact they were 6-3 going in, this season really been a struggle for the Calgary Stampeders. Dave Dickinson went down early, then his replacement, Henry Burris, went down. This game, and in particular that quarter, the first time we've really seen the Stamps operating full throttle. Matt, they got into the slot backs, they worked in Calvin Anderson, and Dickinson just moving them up and down the field.
Yeah, I think the key right there is Calvin Anderson took some heat off of him early in the game, and then Dave was able to open up. And did he open up? Folks, he's play action right here. He feels the heat coming up off the edge. He steps up, keep his eyes downfield, and throws his strikes. And then right here, no play action, just shotgun, feels the heat coming up the middle, simply just dips outside, knows where the people are and aren't, and just steps in the end zone. At this point of the year, Dave Dickinson coming back is having a tremendous football season. I was away for a couple of years. I've only had a chance to see him for 3 or 4 games. It's hard not to jump on this kid's bandwagon right now. Chris, he's an exceptional player that's got all the tools, and they're putting it together all in this game tough in front of the Edmonton crowd, too.
This game in particular, and you look at the quarterback situation as it compares to Edmonton, they had to take Nealon Green out, because if you have an injury, like a hamstring injury, and it gets re-aggravated 2 or 3 times, then it's almost the season. They didn't have a choice. Right now, Kevin Mason kind of looks a little nervous to me as the backup quarterback. Time for Calgary to play Mike McCoy. Get your starter out of there so it doesn't take any cheap hits, because you never know in the fourth quarter of a one-sided game, things get a little nerdy.
Yes, a little
dirty.
Nerdy. A little nerdy? So
good.
So much for home field advantage in the Battle of Alberta. I get a little nerdy at times, people have said.
That's his favorite word.
Who are back to Commonwealth
That's the
for
ears.
fourth quarter action.
Girls from Calgary are a little happier than they were 98 hours ago when the Stampeders lost the Labor Day Classic to the Eskimos at McMahon. And how about Anita's Friday Night Football?
Yeah, big game.
Huge.
Big,
Edmonton, Saskatchewan, both at 3-6 right now. This could be for the playoff spot.
Big game in Saskatchewan. Of course, Edmonton beat Saskatchewan here in Commonwealth early in the year, so Saskatchewan desperately needs to win that game.
But Saskatchewan won at Taylor Field against the Eskimos. Here's Kellen on 3rd down. We're looking for a first down, and he's way short. They'll turn it over again.
Looked like a design play from Don Matthews. Just gave Matt Kellett the nod to go out there and try and fake it.
Castrol GTX, drive hard, presents the numbers after 3 quarters. This is no contest right now.
Oh, that's, you know, there's
you got to get over 100.
Well, there's only one word to describe that. That's ugly.
Yeah.
You know, Troy Mills, non-factor in this football game, had over 100 yards on Labor Day. Was nowhere near that today. And boy, look at that. Edmonton, Saskatchewan, Friday night.
3-6. Saskatchewan has an opportunity to be better than that as they play. The Rough Riders play the Argonauts in Toronto tomorrow. But it doesn't look like the Eskimos can be better than 3-6. Calvin Anderson has had a nice night for the Stampeders. Just 22 yards rushing last week. And he's been a story tonight.
Well, he has. He's got 52 yards tonight on 12 carries. But, you know, last week he was out of the game early. I'm talking about he was out of the game in a hurry as far as the game plan goes. He wasn't injured, obviously, but wasn't involved. Even if he's just chipping away 3 or 4 yards, it's keeping that defense on.
And 4 receptions for 26 yards for Anderson as well, swinging out of the backfield. This is 2nd and 8. Dickinson is picked up. Aspen has the interception. So the Eskimos come away with a little something and end the Stampeder drive at the 40. It's 35-13 on Adidas Friday Night Football.
Block and then drop. Chris Hardy on the safeties coming on the blitz. Dave Dickinson sees Hardy, thinks he's got to drop it off. See now Asman drops out of there. Right to him. Well-designed defense by Rich Stubler. He was the one who drew that defense up, and it worked to perfection. That's the way you put it on the chalkboard at practice.
Stubler is trying to figure out all the players he's got on defense out there because there have been a lot of changes, so it's been difficult for the Eskimos. Good fake, and Mason takes off, looking for the first down. He's got it more, head down, and a hammer job On Greg Frere's number 12, the Stampeder safety.
We talked a lot about Terry Ray and how much he's helped the linebacking core. Well, so has Charles Asman. He's been in there for the last 3 games starting. 7 tackles, a quarterback sack on Monday versus the Stamps. He's been flying around here again this evening versus Calgary, really doing his job. And then he came up with that big interception to give his Edmonton Eskimos maybe one more chance at it.
Third start in the middle. He's got 15 tackles coming into this game and been effective tonight, adding the interception as well. Mills ran into Hall. First down for the Eskimos in the second half.
And you're looking at a guy that I'm really surprised that the Edmonton Eskimos forgot about, and that was Troy Mills. You saw him rip off a good 5 yards there on first down, and he had that kind of game on Monday. First down production, look at that.
That's pretty ugly, 28-6.
Yeah, you know, and Troy Mills has been forgotten about.
2nd and 5, not now. Mills one more time, and I'm not sure if he had enough forward progress there. It looked like he had enough for the first down.
Yeah, and I think
they should be generous with a spot about now.
Yeah, and I think Edmonton will be in 3 downs anyway, even if it is close. They've got a big deficit to come back from. So Troy Mills, only 40 yards on the game, over 100 on Monday. You know, and Troy Mills is a big reason that the quarterbacks can run. Because the quarterbacks run to the outside. I'm talking about Nealon Green, and in this case it has to be Kevin Mason because Green has the hamstring problem. But they can stretch the outside of the D-line. Troy Mills is running well up the middle. It works in tandem. Without Troy Mills, it's harder to run outside.
A gamble for the Eskimos here. There's not much left to do but gamble at this stage of things on 3rd and 1, and that should be a first down.
No, it's 3-down football pretty much for Don Matthews the rest of this game. You got to just keep going for it, and they got to put in, score 3 majors.
Don Matthews has 174 wins and is tied with Frank Clare for the most wins by any CFL head coach, regular season plus playoffs. But 175 is not going to happen tonight. At 35-13, Matthews is in big trouble.
It would be one heck of a comeback to come back from that deficit with your 3rd-string quarterback in the ballgame. Kevin Mason has looked rusty since he's taken over the reins in the second half. He just, you know, he's not getting a lot of reps. He hasn't thrown the ball real well. What he's got to do is just run the football.
He ran for a first down himself, and that was the first down for the Eskimos in this half. Another marker is down.
Time count violation. Edmonton number 12.
That is Nealon Green on the bench. He's got the warm-up coat on. He's been on the bench since they came out in the second half.
He looks uncomfortable down there, too.
Hamstring tightened up. It was a cool night. That's the other thing. When you go in at halftime, you can get in the game, you loosen it up, and then the first half, you're running around, it feels okay. You go in and sit down at halftime. It tightens up a little bit. You come out in the cool air in the second half, and he just decided he couldn't go and doesn't want to test that hamstring. There's a lot of football to be played. And you think about the Friday game. Who are they going to go with? Dan Crowley, who's right now charting the plays. Kevin Mason, or will Nealon Green be ready?
Long odds. Mason faked it and takes off around the right side. Fake to Mills, and Mason has a pretty nice game. Not a first down, but 13 yards.
Mark him out as a 34, gain of 12.
Nealon Green has this hamstring. This could be something that nags him all season long because he's not like he likes to be a drop back passer. And I'm sure that Don Matthews has probably said, listen, if we can make you a pocket passer and you can stay in there as long as you can, then you could save that hamstring again. But he's at his best when he's running. You can see his numbers just not good in the first half. So
he wasn't close to connecting several times in the first half. This one is whistled down as Mason is grabbed by a leg.
Mason has to hang on. Flag on the play.
My guess is procedure. 9:54 to go. Stampeders have bounced back.
Sean Millington jumped offside trying to get his block. Boy, talk about some injury problems that the Edmonton Eskimos have had to get through. I mean, talk about all the starters they lost in the Labor Day game. They patched that up going into this one tonight. Now they've lost their starting quarterback again in Nealon Green, so it's a matter of scrambling for another week. The good thing for Don Matthews is at least this week.
Edmonton 25, penalties decline, third down.
You told us all that moments ago, didn't you?
Yeah, at least this week he has the whole week. There's the injuries they had on Labor Day on Monday. Of course, their two big play receivers, Terry Vaughn and Fred Bailey.
Jay McNeil was the only injured Stampeder.
That's right.
Who couldn't make this. Wally Buono said his team didn't play hard enough to get banged up on Monday. Third down. Eskimos will get a first down out of this. Mason has his first completion, and Ashley has a catch to get inside the Stampeder 25.
A couple of the guys that we saw on that injured list for Edmonton will be back next week. Terry Vaughn was kind of questionable. If it weren't for the short week, he may have played. And the same thing goes for Ken Watson. Little turn back and then back to the backside of the play where Donnie Ashley is wide open on the sideline. Completion for Kevin Mason, but so Don Matthews will get a couple of guys back for next week, and at least he has the full week to assess just how bad the injuries are.
Eskimos first and 10, Stampeder 15. Mason got it away, and he's down to the 5. Walters held on. Johnson brought him down, and Eric Sutton was covering.
Here's what Ricky Walters sees. Concentrate on the tip of the football. Go up and use your body to make sure the defensive back can't get around you, and Ricky Walters comes up with the catch.
Short of the first down, but they've got less than a yard to go to get that at the 5-yard line. One of the Eskimos' best drives of the night. In fact, I think it must be Edmonton's best drive. Chance for a touchdown here, 8:16 to go. There's the first down inside the 5 to about the 4. And Mason is roughed up. He was mugged.
Fans
well,
want a penalty
there. 52,000 calling for a penalty. Mason said it didn't hurt a bit.
And they're going to have to measure to see if he got the first down because he was held right at the 5-yard stripe. The ball is on the opposite side of that stripe.
Stood up at the line of scrimmage.
That was only second down, however.
He kind of stood straight up as he bounced out, and then Greg Frères, with the good feet, holds him up. Lets his buddies, Alondra Johnson, Marvin Coleman, and Ray Biggs come in there and help him out, and then they tossed him to the ground. He'd be short.
By inches. 3rd and inches.
2 lengths of the chain.
3rd and 2 inches.
Chain gang will head off, and you know, this just does nothing here but for the Edmonton Eskimos but take up time. And they don't have a whole lot of time left to come back in this game. It's under 8 minutes.
Another one of those stands. This time it's the Stampeders on defense trying to prevent an Eskimo first down. Mason looked to be slow to get off the ball again, but he will have the first down this time. And 3 cracks at it from inside the 5. Last regular season game of the decade and the millennium for the Calgary Stampeders and the Edmonton Eskimos, unless they should meet in the playoffs.
Well, if Edmonton can't come back in this football game, and it doesn't look like they will, that means that career-wise versus Edmonton, Wally Buono will move to 15 and 15, which
you
means
can't do much better than that, can you?
If they do meet in the playoffs, like you just mentioned, to end the year 1999, that will be the rubber match for the 90s.
First and goal to go. Mason bobbled it, and flags were flying already.
Markers on the play.
Calgary won at McMahon Stadium on the 22nd.
Illegal procedure. Edmonton number 60. First down repeated.
Edmonton won at McMahon Stadium on Monday in overtime.
Taking 2nd and goal, Eskimos.
4 days later, Wally Buono is looking at his team and is pretty happy with the way they played. Battled through some penalty problems and a block kick in the first half by Edmonton to come back and pretty much dominate this game in the second half.
So from 3 cracks at it from inside the 5, the Eskimos on the 11th play of this driver, 1st and goal to go at about the 7th. And all kinds of problems down there.
Kevin Mason has struggled.
Calgary, Edmonton procedure. Back him again. Illegal procedure. Edmonton number 23, 1st down repeated.
This time it's Scott Dybert gets called.
Interesting, you know, as you look at this game and the matchups in Alberta at this time of the year, it's not very often you see in football two teams starting work on Monday and then ending work face-to-face on Friday. But that's what these two teams do every year. Mason feels the heat, and he had to throw it away. Greg Frears.
I don't think the ball crossed the line of scrimmage, which means Kevin Mason's going to get an intentional grounding call, which means the Edmonton Eskimos in the last 3 plays are going backwards.
They've lost about 35 yards. Well, not quite 35, about 25 anyway.
There's Greg Frears, gets the clean shot off the edge on the safety blitz. He's been down there a couple times and dropped from it, so Mason really has nowhere to go. He can't beat him to the outside, tries to throw it away, but because he's on his way down, can't get enough on that football to get it across the line of scrimmage.
In spite of all the Eskimo problems this year in the record at 3-6, no one has yelled for Kay Stevenson to come back to town.
No.
Illegal contact on a receiver. Calgary number 3. Intentional grounding. Edmonton number 12. Down repeated. 1st down.
Now they'll do it again.
You know, if either team would give an inch, they could space this game out a little bit more. If the Stampeders would play on the Sunday of Labor Day weekend, and the Eskimos would play on the Saturday night rather than the Friday night, they could have a few days in between.
Go back to my old cliche. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
But the Eskimos refuse to move, and so do the Stampeders. It's just part of the stubbornness and the hate between these two football teams. Mason looks to the end zone. No touchdown. Ricky Walters was the target.
Ricky Walters, the intended receiver.
He had Ricky Walters in the back of the end zone, but he was thrown on the dead fly, and it's a lot easier said than done when you're running full speed one way and you're trying to throw that football back against your body. That's not easy. Look how fast he's running across the field. He's trying to hit Ricky Walters. Ball goes behind him and incomplete. But Walters did have a step on Eric Sutton in the back of the end zone.
At one point, Mason had the Eskimos inside the 5. 1st and goal to go there. This drive has taken 7 minutes and 24 seconds, and it's been downright boring, hasn't it? Mason almost intercepted.
Greg Frears read the mail, just didn't come up with a catch. And if he does, he's got the convoy going all the way to the end zone. Oh, he'd love this one back. He breaks up here, and if he gets it, he is gone. Great read, comes out of his back pedal perfectly, has his hands on the football. He's gone down that sideline. Chris Morris, number 60, the only guy over there. He's not going to catch Greg Frears. Got to catch the ball.
3rd and goal from way out there. Mason stands in, missed the target by about 4 feet. That was Donnie Ashley. Well, the Boo Birds are out at Commonwealth in Edmonton. They don't boo the Eskimos very often, but it's getting a little ugly on Adidas Friday Night Football. 52,000 showed up. We looked at the keys for Calgary's success earlier. It was contain green. Well, they not only contained them, they maimed them. They established the run, didn't they?
110 yards, take the crowd out of it. They certainly did that. In fact, the crowd is in the parking lot right now.
Not all of it, but it's thinning out. No doubt about that. Dickinson still in there at the controls for the Stampeders. Kelvin Anderson still running.
That surprises me a little bit, John, that Dickinson is still in the football game. You know, this is an opportunity for Wally Buono to put in the backup quarterback, Mike McCoy, get him some more snaps, some more reps. He's got the big lead. really no chance Edmonton has to come back here. And they may need Mike McCoy down the line.
Well, they've needed him this season, and he's come through in 1 game.
Yeah, 3 games, as a matter of fact. 3 starts, 3 wins. Henry Burris was knocked out, and Dave Dickinson was already out.
Stampeders have scored 4 touchdowns on their last 5 possessions. Marcus Dowdell has a chance here to keep this drive rolling out near the 30-yard line. Stop there by Robert Brown.
Calgary Stampeders now will just run the ball on first down, see if they can pick it up on the ground, keep the clock moving, try and get out of here without anybody getting hurt. Just surprised that Dave Dickinson's in the game.
This is the 10th anniversary of back-to-school night at Commonwealth Stadium. You know what also happened here in Canadian football 10 years ago today?
What's that?
The Ottawa Rough Riders won their first game of the year. It was week 10. Remember the Rough Riders? They were 4-14 in 1989. Kelvin Anderson, quite a story for the Stamps tonight. Close to another first down. He's near the 40-yard line. They depend on the spot.
Talk about the Ottawa Rough Riders, and a lot of talk these days that maybe they'll be back in the league. The league office is really wanting to push to expand the Canadian Football League to 10 teams, put 1 team in the Maritimes, put 1 more team back in Ottawa. So that'd be nice to see.
It really would be. They need balance, though. They need 2 or none at this point, I think. Anderson is hammered. Flags come down near the 40-yard line.
Give to Kelvin Anderson.
Still battling down there. I mean, this is the game film time. This is the time when, even though you're down as a defense and you know the game is pretty much lost, you got to keep battling because the coaches watch the film from start to finish. If they see anyone quit, they're not helping. Mike McCoy looked like he was loosening up a little bit there.
I think he'd like to get in. Started on Monday. Dickinson came in the second quarter.
That's right. Played pretty well in the 3 starts that he had. He really made good decisions. He doesn't have a terribly strong arm, and he's not a real great runner, but he buys some time and he makes good decisions. Really didn't throw a whole lot of interceptions.
2nd and 8. Anderson out of the backfield has another Calgary first down. Lots to spare. Hardy comes over to make the tackle. The Eskimos are hurting and trailing by a bunch. It's 35-13. Revenge for the Stampeders in the rematch at Commonwealth.
Oh, and you know, John Hufnagel is the quarterback coach in Cleveland.
Yeah, we'll cheer for the Browns for a while. Because of John Hufnagel, Mike McCoy takes over for the Stampeders just to mop up what Dave Dickinson accomplished. And Kelvin Anderson is not through. Close to another 10 yards for Anderson. Marcelo Simmons.
You see that?
Tackle.
Dave Dickinson, quite a night, and quite a night after doing his best impersonation of a crash test dummy on Monday.
Almost hit 500 yards, and he likely would have if he'd continued to play the last 220 of this ball game.
George, where'd you go?
A couple of interceptions, but no harm done by either one, really. Anderson again. Stampeders very happy to just run some time off the clock and get out of Commonwealth. Another first down for Calgary. Dickinson took a beating on Monday night at McMahon.
Yeah, I couldn't believe watching Dave Dickinson being pounded like he was on Monday. I mean, it didn't matter if he was throwing the football or if he was being sacked. That was 1 of 7. That was Leroy Blue. But he got hit and hit often and hit hard. Bounced back from that to put up an over 400-yard passing game here tonight.
First down, Stampeders. Eskimo 30. Kelvin Anderson tries to turn the corner without much success.
And one of the passes in that 400 for Dave Dickinson was a very important one for another guy and one of his teammates, and that was Alan Pitts.
Alan Pitts becomes the all-time leading receiver in CFL history. Part of that 602 yards in total offense. Pitts passing your old teammate Ray Elgard. He's #1 on the hit parade now, or at least on the receiving parade.
Well, it's interesting because Don Narcisse leads in receptions. Alan Pitts leads now in yardage. Both are still playing, and both are kind of peeking to see when the other is going to retire.
Pitts has added a touchdown tonight in his 60th career 100-yard performance. Kelvin Anderson picks his way through, is brought down by Vogel.
Tell you, the way Alan Pitts is playing, he can play 2 or 3 more years. And that's what, you know, that's the kind of guy he is, too, because he takes care of the body. He makes sure that he's in tremendous shape, always works hard in practice, brings his game every game, and there he is, #1 all time. And he did it in 10 seasons. Really 9 seasons.
Because he missed a year with injury, right?
That's
half
right.
of 93 and part of 97.
That's right.
With a hand and a knee injury, so he is the best, #1 all time. And it's been a decade of watching Alan Pitts that's been terrific for fans in Calgary and truthfully right across the Canadian Football League.
And Mark McLaughlin has a chance to go past Dave Cutler if he makes this one.
Even a single would do it here from the 31. They're tied, Cutler and McLaughlin, and now McLaughlin slips past Cutler and right behind Dave Ridgway to 3rd place in all-time CFL scoring. There are your points leaders. No one is ever going to catch Louis because he's never going to quit. Right?
No, probably not. Dave Cutler, of course, we talked about him being the last toe puncher, and now in Edmonton they got a guy who doesn't wear a shoe on his kicking foot.
That's a lot of change in the last 20 years in CFL, isn't there? Now there's a barefoot kicker where Cutler used to trot out on the 35-yard line and hammer them through with that straight-on kick. Milestones tonight for Alan Pitts, the CFL's all-time leading receiver in yards, and Mark McLaughlin, who moves into 3rd place among all-time scorers in the CFL, passing Dave Cutler and closing in on Dave Ridgway. Eskimos want this thing to be over as quickly as possible. It's Kevin Mason at the controls, and that explains the night. Ed Hervey hasn't caught a thing.
Mason looking for Hervey.
Well, it was a record-breaking night for Alan Pitts. He's doing it all early, blocking Terry Ray early in the game, and then he gets the record right here to pass Ray Elgard, the all-time leader. And just to make it a special night, he puts one in the end zone, number 106.
Yeah, nice touchdown for Alan Pitts, number 106. He's 2nd on the all-time list in that department, too, behind George Reed. But he's got a way to go to catch Reed, about 30 touchdowns ahead of him.
Tonight, Pitts gets all the stuff. Adidas game ball, everything.
Yeah, you might as well give it all to him.
You give it all to him.
CFL tomorrow, Saskatchewan and Toronto. Key game for the Eskimos to be watching because the Rough Riders have the same number of wins as the Eskimos as a result of this tonight. Both teams are 3 and 6 coming in. Edmonton will drop to 3 and 7. So a big game for Saskatchewan and Toronto tomorrow. On Sunday, Hamilton and Montreal, a showdown for top spot in the East. And also Sunday, BC at Winnipeg. The Lions looking to become the first team to win 8 games in 1999. So lots more CFL ahead this weekend. We're just kicking off week number 10 tonight at Commonwealth in Edmonton.
Ooh, Steve. Ooh, don't hurt him like that, Steve.
Almost intercepted. It bounced out of Ashley's hands, and Biggs had an opportunity.
Who do you think gets the game ball in this one?
Well, I think we got to give it to number 18.
Number 18 and number 1 in the record books. 13,273 yards receiving. That's better than anybody. And he can take that game ball and put it in the trophy case. Congratulations, Alan Pitts.
He's done a wonderful job in 10 seasons in Calgary. Stampeders have won a couple of cups with Pitts and really been the most dominant team in Canadian football through the decade. "30 seconds left. Someone caught one for the Eskimos. Who was that guy? It's Troy Mills.
Troy Mills. Well, guess we can give Calgary the win here. That means they improve to 7-3, like you mentioned. Sets up the Good Friday showdown next week between Saskatchewan and Edmonton. Of course, Saskatchewan, like you mentioned, John, plays tomorrow versus Toronto. And in the East, well, that could change after tomorrow as well.
Hamilton has a shot at a tie for top place with a victory, but they'll have to do it in Montreal. That's a tough place to win against the Alouettes. But the Tiger Cats looked very impressive last week. Or actually, that was only 4 days ago, too. That was
That's right.
It was week number 9, but it was earlier this week. Wally gets his revenge. Solid night for the Stampeders. Pretty well from start to finish.
Game story to me, no question. Congratulations to Alan Pitts, Canadian football's all-time leading receiver.
The Eskimos with 1 touchdown and
Alan
2 field
Pitts
goals means a total of
stands by himself. Time now for the TSN turning point.
Abbott Elementary School compliments of Edmonton Power. The next Eskimo home game action is Sunday, September 26th.
Here we go. A little number 18.
Some number 18 becomes the all-time leader in Canadian Football League history. A decade of dominance from Alan Pitts. This was the record-breaking catch, and he capped it off, putting his 106th touchdown in the end zone.
A cash donation will be made to the Coaching Association of Canada for the training and development of Canadian coaches in amateur sport. On behalf of TSN and Mr. Lube, doing it right before your eyes. Memories for Alan Pitts and an ovation in a strange place at Commonwealth Stadium in Edmonton. It's all Calgary on Adidas Friday Night Football.
Football control. Hard to believe Edmonton actually led this game 13-6. Calgary reeled off 31 straight points. They move into a temporary tie for first with BC, although BC can jump back into first place all by themselves if they beat Winnipeg on Sunday. Our next game coming up a week from tonight. It's those very same Edmonton Eskimos taking on Saskatchewan in a battle for third place in the final playoff spot in the West. We're also up Sunday afternoon. The 2 top teams in the league as it stands right now. The BC Lions, led by Damon Allen, taking on the Owls. That's Sunday afternoon, 1 Eastern from Montreal. Coming up next, Gino Retta with Sports Desk, the wild card race, plus round 2 of the Bell Canadian Open from Glen Abbey. Dave Dickinson had quite a night as the Stamps stomped. 38-13 is your final. This has been a presentation of TSN, Canada's most watched sports network.